Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We hope you are ready for some interesting things this evening. Um, Welcome to the channel. Hey, all, you know me. I'm at Deirdre on Twitter or Prexagorth S1E4. You can see me around on Twitch, and I will do the full spiel after I introduce everybody else, or let them introduce themselves. So we're going to start to my right on the overlay. Hey, Billy. How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm excited. We left on a cliffhanger, I believe. So yeah, hopefully this won't be the last episode of this campaign, is what I'm hoping, because someone's arm almost got ripped off. We have our beautiful person got a big scar, which will, be slightly harder for him to seduce people.
Yeah, that's
Um,
really hard.
and Arzo's perfect in every way. So I
That's
yeah,
fair.
I don't see this lasting more than an episode or two, going up against what we have to go up against, especially when Prax
Mm,
sets her Discord
yeah,
away message to plotting and scheming.
yeah,
It makes me feel a little uneasy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm on all of my toes right now. But other than that, super excited and super happy to be here. That's it. I'm done. I love you.
I love you too, Billy. I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Uh, but directly underneath our wonderful Ardzo dwarven healer that he is, we have a Lindy. Hey, Lindy.
That's me. Hi, I'm Lindy, and I'll be playing Brenna, the cat school witcher who her arm's in a sling. Our mage who is maybe gonna figure out some magic stuff just KO'd. So I think everything's fine. We're fine because we're in a bakery full of bread, so at least we won't starve. Everything's fine.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I know something about dragons. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
right next to the lovely cat school half elf, elven witcher, uh, is hey Trooper. How you doing? How we doing
Hey,
tonight? Oh,
I am Trooper SJP, and I'm doing well. I have some, well, I mean, I've got some generic ginger ale, which is like fine, but it's not like great ginger ale. But I speak, that's probably like the biggest tragedy. No, no, wait. The biggest tragedy is that Yanto got like a little bit of scar on his face, which, makes his life really hard. So I feel like that's the biggest tragedy. Yeah. And I'm playing Yanto, who is a jewel crafter and Brenna's brother, half brother, technically, and like Ardzo's best friend, or Ardzo's his best friend, and that I cannot speak for Ardzo's feelings. And I feel like his lover is currently not responsive, and that's a thing. And I feel like there's a dragon outside, which also seems to be a thing, and not a good thing, like a bad thing. That's also I have 0 points in dodge, so yeah, that's there we go. That's it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well, thank you
Yep.
for that wonderful introduction and all of your possible concerns, queries, quandaries, all of that great stuff.
I
But
have
hey,
some.
everyone, how we all doing? It's a Wednesday night. Time for some Witcher. Roads home. Our wonderful campaign in the golden age of Witchers, 200 years before Geralt of Rivia will even think to meet someone by the name of Saskia.
Hmm.
We are in the town of Kagen, in, well, either southern Angren or eastern Sodden. No, a little fuzzy with borders at this time. Just north of Toussaint. There's people sleeping. Magic pretty sure it's magic. Well, actually, we know it's magically induced. The attempt was made by a certain mage. Jay. Thank you, Jay. That wonderful
Hi, Jay!
So for those of you who don't know, if you want to know what kind of game we are playing, this is the wonderful Witcher TTRPG. And it should work. Oh, of course it doesn't. The one time the command doesn't work. But created by our friends over at Artelsorian Games. But this wonderful town of Kagen is currently dealing with some sleep spells, possibly magical of some sort. And when Yanto's lover, a mage of some ability and skill, who actually managed to save Brenna's arm, well, he attempted to discover why these snowdrops seemed to have the roots of a mandrake. Well, he fell over and the lights are on, but nobody's home, as the saying goes. And then, shortly thereafter, there were sounds heard, loud sounds coming from outside, nearby perhaps. And these sounds sort of, kind of like this. And that's where we left off, with these fine folks in a bakery. The doors closed. And some very upsetting sounds, which Brenna had identified as perhaps a dragon outside.
Yanto's still by Javik's side, trying to get him awake. You know, like trying to assess him, make sure that he's breathing. You know, like there's some concern right now. Primary concern has to do with making sure that Javik is okay, and that's more of a concern than other things like whatever's outside.
Arzo, what are you up to?
Arzo's gauging the reactions of everyone else in the room, because he certainly doesn't want to investigate what's out there by himself after arguably the most powerful magic user he knows is unconscious on the floor. So, you know, of the things for Arzo to take the lead on, this dance is not one of them.
Arzo, can you check him out, please? Can you just see what you can do for him?
I suppose. It's just a lot going on at one time. And he'll take a knee and kind of assess vitals. And what do my dwarven eyes see? And what do
Go
my
ahead
dwarven
and roll
hands
those
feel?
healing hands.
Oh, ooh.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just. Ooh.
That is not bad.
I like.
A 25 is not bad at all.
It's very good.
It is indeed very good. With a 25, you notice a couple things. One, his breathing is stable. He's not in shock. There's no attack. He's also not asleep, like Gran or Lencia or Morgana. Any of the other people that you've come across in the village have been. He is almost hyper-focused, you could say, on something that you cannot see. His mind is not currently engaged. His pupils dilate when you shine a light on them, but there's no reaction within. There's no autonomous blinking, no autonomous actions of any sort. This is something magical of some sort.
You don't mean that in a way like oh, it's magical. You mean like it's magical, like not like in a Hollywood film of the 40s.
No.
Yeah, not a Disney Hollywood 40s musical kind of way where it's magical.
It could be a Disney way in like a Sleeping Beautiful, Beauty, Maleficent kind of magical way. Not the other movie, but the actual.
Yeah, not the way we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Then that's not great. It's not great.
I will also say that he. With a 25, there's some evidence of like his facial muscles aren't relaxed or anything, so it's just whatever his last facial expression was, and you can see a minute amount of like that half second of panic before everything went wrong.
All right, Ardzo, out of not seeing this often, is going to get his face really close to his specimen's face, and he's going to flick him very hard right in the forehead.
You flick him very hard in the forehead. It like the skin kind of turns red, but there's no reaction from him. Not even a blink when you kind of move your hand forward to do so.
Well, this is definitely magic in nature, so it is beyond my scope, and I do not wish to do anything further until I have the necessary information I need to treat him.
Brenna, do you think you can do something? I mean, you're not a mage, but I mean, witches.
I think that distracts her because she is totally tuned to the outside. I believe there's a dragon outside.
Excuse me?
What?
I said, I believe there is a dragon outside.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Those do not.
Do not make it mad. What were you asking?
You must have some sort of knowledge of magic and that sort of thing. Can you do something?
Base. Very base knowledge. Basic.
With Javik, can you do something?
The snowdrops put him to sleep.
Right, can you just undo it or something? Just break. Do you have break curses or something? I mean,
breaking curses and doing magic are two different things. Sometimes.
This could be a curse, right?
Most of the time, no. The village is definitely under a sleeping curse. Most likely connected to these. I need to do more investigating. Javik was going to assist with that, but now I have to approach from a different angle.
Do dragons do magic? Or do they just kill things?
It is hard to say what dragons do and don't know. I haven't talked to any personally, but they are very intelligent. So,
but I mean,
this one sounds upset. So.
Okay, well, it's not great.
Well, if it is intelligent, then perhaps it can talk, and if it is mad, we can make it unmad. But,
hopefully.
I don't know. I feel like out of the ones that are awake in this room right now, that the person who is the best looking and talks the most should You know, scope it out.
Oh, I don't think we should even. I mean, we're not going out there, right? I mean, dragons.
I would like to peek out a window.
Well, if a dragon really wanted to kill us, do you think these four walls would be able to stop it?
It does. Maybe
It
doesn't know
depends
we're.
on the kind of dragon,
Also
but probably not. No.
But also may not know we're here, right? I mean, it may not know we're in this.
That
building.
is why I am peeking.
Yep.
Go
You there, like I
quietly
said,
peek out a
you're-
window.
You can go into. There's a small shuttered window where you are in the back of the bakery. Or there's a slightly larger, again, shuttered window in the front of the bakery.
I think based on where the bakery is, probably whatever window's facing this side, because it's probably towards the
But
center
probably
of
one of the
town.
back windows from because
Sure.
the front.
Yeah.
Go
I'll
ahead
peek.
and roll me a perception.
I would love to. Okay.
And
I'm just gonna
going to
have
have to
a cat
give
on my
you a. Well, no, you don't have that problem. Never mind.
lap. Yeah, that's.
I was about to say something, but it doesn't affect you, so never mind.
It does not affect me.
Interesting.
Okay. Awareness, you say?
Awareness,
Interesting.
indeed.
19.
It's a little hard just based on the angle,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like trying to.
Just trying to figure out where it is.
You're
what
trying
color.
to figure out where it is. I mean, it's dark, and there is no moon
Yeah.
because last night
Oh,
was
because last time was.
the Imbolc, the festival of the new moon,
Yep.
and
There's just a tiny sliver.
there is just not any real light to speak of, but for you that's not
Yeah.
really a problem. You see again the candles that were still lit in the Laughing Star Inn. The small light coming from the bakery gives you just enough that you can see a large,
Oh boy.
very large creature. 4 legs. Well,
Yep.
2 back legs, 2 large front wings that are
Okay.
being used.
Okay.
Slightly. A few obvious scars from you can tell along the sides. Basically land, about here in the center of
Oh,
town.
so real close.
Real close.
Uh-huh.
And it's being with a 19 you can gauge that it's being very careful in where it steps, but it's the size of two houses, right?
Sure, sure.
It's like 75 feet, 80
But
feet
it's being
long.
careful. That means
Oh.
it's probably not bent on a path of destruction.
No.
Or there are secret bad things on the ground that only it can see because maybe like cats it can see
Well,
into a
if
fourth
that's
dimension.
the case, I've already stepped on all of them, so like I already walked up that way back. Like
I'm just saying, like it just could be real bad. I don't know. It's fine.
okay. So real big,
Yeah.
big lizard. Okay.
And you all hear
Yep.
in your mind,
Oh gosh.
Uh-huh.
I do apologize for disturbing your evening constitutional, but as you seem to be the only cogent and coherent members of this town currently present, would it be possible to have a conversation with you at your convenience?
I looked at
I
Brenna.
think Brenna just looks over her shoulder like, well, I think we have to go talk to the dragon. She doesn't say anything. She just has that like resigned like, well, let's be off.
Just you.
Like
Sure.
as like obviously it knows we're in here kind of thing. And she goes, I'll get the door.
I imagine we wait for her to walk through first.
That's fair, yeah.
You're the Witcher, and we are
Yep.
not the Witcher.
Yeah, I'm also the super awesome talker, so.
The Witcher.
Yep.
Witchers are really
Yeah.
good at empathy, right?
I was until I became a Witcher.
Wait, how could you tell that at like 1?
An adorable
Look.
baby. Like, this is like a baby
Yeah,
that
I
would have
was
been like
the
on like
cutest.
ads. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like the
Full
Elven
Ger-
Gerber baby.
Full
It was...
Gerber baby.
Yeah,
Full
totally
Yeah.
Gerber baby.
And you just listened to everyone's issues because you didn't have a choice. 'Cause
Yep.
you couldn't talk or walk away. So
No.
you're just the sounding board of, oh, look,
Yep.
the chosen child of empathy.
Yep.
Um,
That was me.
so Brenna, you walk out.
Yes,
and
I'm out first. And I'm walking out in a very polite fashion, as if I was going to address a nobleman.
Oh, so you want to roll that social etiquette then?
Sure. I will roll that social etiquette. And I'll even throw on a point of luck, because I feel like that is... There we go. Yep.
You
Following after.
You are following after your sister. This large, very large, slightly scarred dragon in the center of town
Yep.
swings his tail and like curls it around himself in a way that's very much like, let me move my tail out of the way so you don't have to step on it. He's being very courteous in return. He turns and like lowers his very large head, and his head itself is the size of Confidant.
Of like a shed. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it will a little bit bigger than maybe, yeah, a little bit bigger than Confidant, just his head. And he turns and kind of cocks it half towards you. And again, all of you hear in your minds. Again, I do apologize for the startling approach of my presence, but when one of my associates disappears from my connections in such a manner, it was a mite displeasing and disconcerting, you might say. My apologies, I have not yet introduced myself. My name is Iskander. Brenna, you are now close enough that you can see that this is based on your knowledge of Witchers, particularly with your role at the end of last...
I did a good roll.
You did
to
a
know
very
about
good-
dragons.
You did. You're pretty sure that this is an elder dragon and this is an elder red dragon.
Oh!
That
Oh, boy.
seems great. Not at all dangerous.
Not at all.
Iskander.
Not at all.
Out of character. That's just... Brenda's smart enough not to whisper that in front of the dragon. It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Brenna, from the cat school, Witcher. These are my associates.
Bow. I don't know if that's the appropriate thing to do with dragons, but a bow.
Yeah, Brenna definitely did the
Yep.
the deep head inclination.
You caught Ardzo sneaking like a bite of like a mushroom with some okra in there, and he's like, and then begins to look at everyone else and like mimic the bow.
And there's this moment where this very large head of this dragon just kind of breathes in and just kind of snorts briefly and cocks his head. And goes, I do apologize. I still struggle with bipedal, courtesies at some point, an understanding of familial connections. Are you two related? He kind of glances between Brenna and
Yes.
Yanto.
Yes, we are.
Oh, good. The scent markers now, I do understand those. Sometimes that they are not always the same as... My apologies, I'm getting off track.
Filing this way for Witcher knowledge. Okay.
I'm just thinking, is this going to come back to bite us in the butt? somebody knows
Are you
information
going-
about us, that's probably bad.
Did you want Brenna to lie to a dragon?
No,
'Cause
no,
I'm
no.
sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no. It's just that, I just never feel comfortable when people know things about me. That's all. Or you now.
Just be
or,
glad Javik isn't out here and been like,
Yep.
wait,
No,
so
no.
how are you all related?
It's
So I do apologize. I am looking
no, you're-
for an associate of mine, or
Do you have a name?
yes, Javik. He is a mage
Ah,
of some sort, and
yes,
he left
he just passed out.
Oh,
Just a few moments ago.
well, that explains why he left my impression. I apologize.
This town is I should let you know, is under some sort of sleeping curse.
Well, that is most distressing. This is my town. I do not like individuals who appropriate such things in my establishments.
Yes, we are very displeased as well. We got into town this afternoon, and it seems that, and I'll pull out the snowdrops that I had. Like, these snowdrops have been crossed with mandrake somehow, sprouted from the ashes of a bonfire, and I believe they might be partially responsible or
And
wholly
also,
responsible. for
my brother is missing, and I found a rag with chloroform in this house, so he was not a part of it. Something else happened to him. He was the blacksmith. I don't. If this is your town, you might know him.
I believe the appellation by which he is known amongst others of your kind is Zerny. Is this correct?
That is my brother. Yes.
Yes, I am aware of the fine gentleman. He has, at times, facilitated certain communications between me and others. It does, on occasion, become complicated when people start running and screaming in terror, when all one which is a fine literary excursion.
That was a lot.
Should we should we get Javik? We can bring him out. He's not moving.
Oh, yes, it would be more hospitable. Do you require assistance of a magical kind? Is that what I am understanding? Usually witches are quite good, at least that is what I have been told by certain others of who have examined your kind.
Well, what I was able to find out, it is not the natural form of unconsciousness. His face is like twisted in shock, I would say, frozen, if you will. And he did not wake up when I flicked him in the forehead real hard, which is a proven method to get someone to wake up when you need them to for natural means. In addition to several smelling salts, which I do not have the ingredients on me for at the moment.
Is this so? I will have to make sure that I add this to my collection of information about bipedal understandings in anatomy. Were you willing to engage in discourse at a future date, sir, concerning the understandings of medicinal properties of your species?
Like, for us to sit down and have a conversation regarding what I do?
Yes. Is that not what you do? Is conversing amongst species a problem for bipedals
No.
now? I must understand the etiquettes of my understanding of etiquette is complicated at best.
I just have never spoken with a dragon before, and forgive me if I seem skittish, but we have had a day, and I'm honestly out here thinking that if I say something wrong, you will disembowel me in front of the people I care about. So, I don't know
I would never
how to...
engage in disembowelment. It causes such a stench and problematics. Bladder and entrails just are not pleasant. Also, I would not actually... I will inform you, I do not eat bipedal individuals. Y'all do not taste good, and you get stuck in people's teeths.
Well, like your teeth?
I may have at one point in my extended experience in lifetime have engaged in the dining of a bipedal individual when the individual was attempting to stab me in the throat with a spear, which I felt was quite rude of him. It was
Right,
quite
yeah.
rude.
Yes,
Some of us
yes.
are big assholes. We will say that right out front.
And so I may have bit down, and then I couldn't get him out behind my back molar for a week. It was quite upsetting. I was concerned that I might have become infected.
Well, I've got steady hands, so if that happens again, I'm, more than happy to help you out in that regard. I don't mind getting messy,
I'm going to go and get Javik.
Why don't I join you?
Well, but the building is.
Yes, I understand. The limits of mass and size and volume is quite concerning, but it is not actually a concern for me. And he lifts his head and cocks it. And between one moment and the next, where was a large, very large dragon, now stands a humanoid person. Tall. Looks tan skin, very square jaw, short cropped hair and beard, very square features, long draping robes in black with red and gold accents, and I will add Iskander to
Yes, please.
your...
I'm just sitting here waiting.
I'm just waiting until I'm like,
I've
just
got it up. I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay.
Let's see what is it? NPCs? Is that it?
Mm-hmm. Witcher fan players NPCs.
That's not the command.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
There is Iskander. And for those playing at home, it's this one.
If this dragon wants to have this village, that's fine. That's he seems to be nice to it, so that's
Why is
good.
the command not working?
Is there an S?
No.
Hey.
Oh yeah, no S.
Wait, hold on. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Yes, that is the right one. Yes.
Okay,
2 is for Blue Rose.
Why is
The one without
everybody
the-
so hot?
I know.
Well, I mean, there are some hot people in this town. I think it's because there's good water.
This is just like a hub.
The water.
of
There's something
fucking
in the water
gorgeous
in this
people.
town.
Yeah, I think it's got a good water table.
It's the
really.
swamp water. It's
Yeah.
just it does wonders for
Mhm.
the genetics
Mhm.
of this town.
Like everyone's out of the best part of an LL Bean catalog.
Although I think the most handsome and attractive would be Confidant.
Yeah,
Look-
Confidant's pretty cute.
Hair really taken care of, very clearly conditioned.
Good care of Confidant.
And so, Iskander appears in this bipedal humanoid form, but he looks human, but he's taller, a little too tall. Just under 7 feet. His shoulders are just a little too broad.
I mean, it's a dragon in human form. He's still got to be able to look down on everybody. That's
Pretty
I'm gonna
much.
Not hard with me.
yeah. Yeah, Yanto's the tall one among us.
Yeah.
So
Some full-on elf.
So he
Just-
will follow you into the bakery.
Open the door, of course, and
Yes.
yeah, I mean, not just letting the dragon go first. Of course, I mean, politeness. Also, dragon. I have a question.
All right.
I am not a witcher, and I am not decked out.
are you gonna seduce the dragon?
I am. No. No. I just wanted to ask. I am not decked out in dragon accoutrement. Witcher accoutrement, but my sister is, and I'm just curious. The last time we had our cliffhanger, that pendant was glowing in an exciting way.
I was really curious as to what this was
Yeah,
doing still too.
and-
If it was still like, if it was just constantly brightly glowing now that Mr.
Yeah,
Dragon's here.
Just like, checking it out. I'm just looking at my sister's brooch for the quality.
Yeah, I've been paying attention to it too. I just didn't want to ask because, oh my gosh, dragon.
Yeah, I as the dragon's walking by, I gotta look. I just have to look. Yep.
As you look at your sister's brooch, it is glowing and it is constant.
It's not because it was flashing by the fire pit, and now
And
it's constant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And obvious.
That's
It's not like the
interesting.
subtle light
Oh,
luminescence
boy.
that you've seen before. This is like...
I guess that maybe the dragon's the one who's cursed. Oh boy. Oh.
Your medallion is going off, but you know, it's that level of like it goes off and you acknowledge it and it kind of, but it's not, you know, it's like, oh, it's a dragon, it's gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But we know this is a curse tracker. So,
Do we know that?
we think that
That's
what
what
I
Javik
believe
said.
based on what Javix told me.
And
So,
already he knows some
Maybe it's just a dragon tracker. And it's like, here be dragons.
Oh, you know from what Javik said that it was monitoring a specific curse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is why I'm wondering about this dragon now.
Well, this dragon enters, kind of bows his head to step through the
Okay.
door, proceeds through, and...
I'm gonna let Brenna go next. Just Witcher.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll go next.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I follow my sister, and then I wait for Ardso to come in. Just,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And again, the only other person who is cogent and cognizant right now is Samuel, your
Got like the lantern and the
attendant.
umbrella. Yeah.
the lantern and a mace.
Yeah.
The umbrella is kind of awkward, but Iskander kind of bows his head through, kind of smiles very politely at Samuel, and he goes, "Well, it has." And again, you hear in your mind, and he's smiling at you as he's talking to you and using telepathy, but his mouth is not moving and he is not uttering any words.
Yeah.
I do hope you appreciate this form of communication. I have attempted to learn your bipedal speech patterns, but there are so many different combinations that I am not always sure of which linguistic patterns and traditions each of you all follow at the moment.
This is perfectly fine. Languages can be difficult over the ages, I'd imagine.
Yes, it was very upsetting. The last time I attempted to have human, bipedal speech with an individual, I was informed that certain terminology was no longer used and that I had insulted somebody's mother, which was not my intention at the time at all. I was merely inquiring if the lady was indeed related to the gentleman. I had, again, so this is a much more straightforward and avoids some of the more complex difficulties of cross-linguistics and cross-cultural translations. And he kind of leans into the room, again, this back room with the dressing screen where Samuel has moved Javik onto like one of the like couch that's in here, the bench that's in here in this main room, because you had moved Morgana into her bedroom.
To the bed. Yep.
I think I thought at him, at the dragon, just as an experiment.
What do you think at him?
What I thought was, so this is in my head. Does this mean that right now we're not actually speaking Elder speech? We are speaking in some other way? Are you hearing me right now, or no?
Yes, I am indeed conversing your at the moment. Telepathy passes all linguistical barriers and it is a much more pure form of communication because it is a straightforward and avoids the complexities of various inflections and tones, as well as the complexities of idiomatics and various metaphors and similes, which can change based on impression, age, discussion, various other things.
And in my mind, but not to him, I think, oh, all right, well, I see. So he can hear me speaking, thinking. All right. Can he hear me thinking if I'm not specifically thinking towards him? I don't know. Okay, all right. I wonder if he heard me thinking that I thought he was going to kill us all a bit earlier. I don't know how that works. Well, I hope we don't die. It'll be fine. Yes. Okay.
You don't see or hear a response to any of that. Iskander has moved to the couch where Javik is and is leaning over him and has kind of pulled his hand. And you notice that his right index finger has one of those very long, intricately designed golden nail cuffs with what looks like a talon just kind of coming off the end. And he kind of uses that to brush the hair off of Javik's face and is kind of observing him at the moment.
I will just sit the not the suspect, the villain, because we know it's not suspect. We know this is part of the cause. Just kind of next to the couch, near the couch, like a side table, so that if he wants to look at it, the snowdrake drop thing is there. Man drop.
I think Snowdrake is better, but go on.
Yeah, I don't know how he feels though being a dragon if we name it Snowdrake.
Oh my gosh, that might be offensive. Yeah, you know what? We're just
so man drop.
Sure, for now.
I would just like to point out that it is both a great combination of the two words and a very descriptive, very good at describing what actually happened.
It's true.
Yes, that's true. Man drop makes man drop. Yep. Yep.
There's just a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of like, ooh, we've got to, and like, I just feel like the way that you're physicalizing Iskander, like, you really feel like you're still a dragon even though you're in human form. That seems just a little distressing. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
He's an elder dragon, yo.
Yep.
He's older than your great-grandma.
It's probably even older than, yeah.
You could try and ask the gentleman's age.
Nope. You don't know what kind of questions are appropriate or inappropriate for dragons. So
Ardzo's going to kneel down next to Javik and kind of walk the dragon through everything that he had done to discern what he has discerned.
I do.
Like if
yeah.
my like, all right, if he's taking an interest in my knowledge of bipedal healthcare, you know, lesson 1 starts now.
Well, I do appreciate your assistance. And is this the... And again, all of this is not spoken at all. But now you can...
This is the culprit.
This is an interesting combination of flaw. It is not one that is, of course, you know naturally occurring.
Natural.
Such a thing is intriguing and different, and it is such distressing that it would have such an effect on...
He was trying to ascertain more details about it when he... gesture to how he is now.
I'm keeping my mind completely clear of thoughts. That is what I'm concentrating on. I'm concentrating on having no thoughts.
Don't think.
Like I'm concentrating on having a blank mind or only visual things. Like just like concentrating on visuals, but not having thoughts in my head. That's what I'm working on.
So the dragon just said that this plant and wasn't natural.
Mm-mm.
And then Ardzo, he's gonna furrow his brows, like, well, if it exists in the world, then it is natural. Yes.
By that I mean it is not naturally occurring. It is not a natural mutation of the world as it seems. However, it could be an outsource of general chaos expression. You are aware of course, sources of magic and chaos expression. Random individuals who suddenly have the ability, possibly, to express themselves with magical channelings and such.
I am aware. I have not seen very much of such things, but it also can be argued that, is a house natural? Are tools, blacksmithing's tools, are those natural? Any sort of, I am just of the mind that if it exists, then it is natural for it to do so.
But is it natural for something to exist, or is it manipulated something to exist? Now, you can have things that exist that were manipulated into being so, but they are not naturally, as in nature itself has created them out of its own occurrences. For example, you do not actually see witches as a naturally occurring species. There are all forms of manipulation caused by mages and of various other forms. But, however, beings that are human and elf and dwarf and halfling and gnome and those strange lizard folk that live in the bottom of the rivers and, even neckers and drowners, those are all naturally occurring because they occur even within, without any outside influence or manipulation by others.
But I suppose that, I don't know much about the making of witchers, but there are choices involved, yes? Would it be dissimilar from, let's say, a person in the town choosing to be a fighter or a soldier for a kingdom? Is that unnatural?
That is not quite how that works.
But the choices involved, I'm just saying that what is and is not natural is perhaps open to interpretation, depending on the individual, of course.
You have such an intriguing mind and understanding. I must engage with you further in such academic discourse when we are not currently pressed about concerns about how my mage is now unconscious.
Oh, I did not know he was your mage. I apologize. Yes,
village.
let's get to it. What? How long have you had this village?
Sorry, that's out of character.
And he pauses and seems to count. I believe at least you could say perhaps 2 or 3 centuries.
It is a long time, but I can tell you that I've been visiting for goods from time to time, and I don't mean any offense at all, but I don't see, people don't say that this village belongs to you. So it is news to me, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Uh-oh, she's about to roll something.
What did you say about disemboweling before?
You are a very, very intriguing individual. I must further have the discussion. Now, of course, you understand the property is not necessarily needs to be understood, to be communicated to understand that it is, of course, presumed by others. There's the whole discussion about the rights and understandings of the transfers of property. Have you ever ascertained or discussed the bundle of sticks metaphor and analogy? About how all property is understood to be exampled for by an example of bundle of sticks, and your rights to that property are tied into each of those sticks, which is within the bundle, and your control of the property is how much of those sticks you control and can manipulate, like the right to exclude, the right to admit, the right to destroy, the right to change.
I live in the woods, and if someone were to come up to me and say, this is my house now, you have to leave, I might talk to them a little bit, but ultimately if I had to go, then I would find somewhere else to live. I don't think, per se, that I own and have explicit control over where I live, but, other people may do it differently.
I really must engage with you further about discourse on the rights of property. Do you have
I
the
think
same
we're
understanding?
doing that right now.
Yes, but I was going to attempt to ascertain the problems with these.
That is what we were
Oh.
attempting to ascertain when you arrived, so it is fortuitous. Perhaps we can all work together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let us all work together.
Back on track. The sooner we help this very nice dragon remove the sleeping curse from his village, the sooner we can take deep breaths again.
He merely nods at that and becomes hyper focused on Javik and Brenna.
I was gonna say, if this dragon sniffs these flowers and like KOs and then morphs back into full dragon form, this bakery's toast.
And it is a bakery, so
yeah.
you know.
He does. I will tell you right now. He sniffs it, but there doesn't seem to be any reaction to him. He's not even.
Oh,
like, a
thank
struggle.
goodness.
But he.
Yes. What would you like me to roll?
Actually, for Brenna, could you roll me a Witcher training? And
Yes.
Yanto and Ardzo, you could roll me an awareness or human perception, if that is your choice.
$24.
I got the 24 as well.
The human perception, fumble, nice. I'm concentrating on not thinking things is what's going on right now. Another fumble, so that's a 16.
No, you don't.
Just a 16.
It's just a 16. It will only explode if it's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 16. I'm concentrating on not thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like really trying to regulate my thoughts right now. That's what's
So
going
a
on.
16 and a 24 and a 24. Brenna, with that 24 in Witcher training, you can sense the change in your medallion. He is doing some sort of magic. As he's
doing dragon magic. Cool.
He's doing some sort of magic as he's examining Javik and these man drops.
Dragon knows dragon magic. Cool.
Ardzo, with that 24 in human perception, he is being kind, I guess. In all of your interactions with Iskander, for the three of you, and even when he kind of acknowledged Samuel's presence, he was professional and courteous, but not kind. There's a gentleness in his actions as he's dealing with Javik. And with a 16, Yanto, you're real focused on paying attention to him.
I think I'm more focused on just not having thoughts that I don't want read. Just thoughts. Just no thoughts. That's what I'm concentrating on. Concentrating on no thoughts, and then every once in a while something will peek through, but like blank thoughts. Just color. Just like trying to be very physically embodied. Just no thoughts.
He seems to be focused and will be focused for, this is player knowledge, for a time. While he is focused on this attempt at magical understanding
You stab him?
examination, you...
No.
You didn't hear my scoff laugh, but it was loud and violent.
Like what would happen to us if we stabbed him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, Brenna was about to go investigate Gwyneth's house. That was what was on her mind until Javik KO'd. So I think she would like to look to Ardzo, or Ardzo's here probably doing magic. She'd look to her brother and quietly say, I think he will be examining Javik for a time. Could you lead me to Gwyneth? That was her name, right? Gwyneth's house? It had the light on. I believe
Yes.
this involved the ceremony. I'd like to investigate further.
All right. Are we allowed to leave his presence without permission?
He's
It
busy
might-
and we would be investigating and contributing towards removing the sleeping curse from his town. So I would say yes.
I think we should perhaps ask permission. I mean, if this is sort of like an emperor or
You wish to
something.
disturb his concentration?
Well, I don't. It might.
I
be-
just...
uh, it
I'll
might
say
be-
that we'll be back if you wish to come. That is fine. We are going to investigate the priestess's house
with
to
your,
see if the ritual contributed to this.
with your permission, my lord.
Oh, you're not calling me my lord, are you?
No.
No.
I was not paying.
Unless you wanted me to, but that's. Well, I think we're. By your leave, we will. And Yanto backs out as a will not because
Yeah.
maybe.
Brenna just does the deep
Yeah.
nod and then spins and turns out. She doesn't back out though.
Back out.
He's keeping it as he was, business and professional. This is his town. We gotta fix it.
You hear in your mind. But of course, if you find any further information that would be pertinent to my investigation and examinations, I quite would appreciate being informed of such at such a time.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Backing out.
And we go.
Yeah, we leave the dragon's presence, but can you ever really leave the dragon's presence? Probably not.
That's the name of our next hit action kung fu movie. Can you ever leave the dragon's presence?
Probably not. And then the dragon is like a actual dragon who's really good at kung fu, and it's bad.
But it's got a sick bass line. The whole
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Because Javik and the Mandrops is the band that plays
Yes.
the soundtrack. Anyways, we're going to the priestess's house.
Yes, I will lead them to Gwyneth's house. I also think, and as I'm speaking, there's like a real deliberateness with all of my speech, which is about concentrating on every word so that my thoughts are focused on the words that I'm saying and not other things. I will take you to Gwyneth's house. I also think we should go to the manor house, the Baron. We should see if the Baron is asleep or taken away. I also think it would be good to just assess if the villagers are in their homes, asleep, or if they're not. But if they're all in their homes, that might say something intriguing because the bonfires were
Yes.
lit.
They were.
And I
Which
would
is why I
imagine-
wish to go to the priestess's house to make sure that, to see what happened to them, the people who are supposed to conduct the ceremony.
Yes. This way. And Yanto will lead them towards Gwyneth's house, and the entire way, Yanto is concentrating on visual things, like the road, there's just like a concerted effort the entire time.
Brenna's just musing about the case. She's like, this is an interesting cursed village conundrum. As a witcher, I have not incurred before.
It's like road, stones, large stones, small stones, gate, wooden, like just it's a very deliberate attempt to just sort of keep my thoughts focused on things that are not other things, just there, and I lead them to Gwyneth's place.
Is Arzo going with you? Okay, so all
He's-
three of you are going
I feel like it's fine to leave Javik with the dragon. Yeah.
So are you taking Samuel, just for my understanding?
Yeah, we
I
don't.
think- Do we take Samuel?
Yes.
Also,
He works for your household, so that's why I asked you.
also, out of curiosity, I think Arzo's going to leave the building and then wonder what the dragon's doing in there and like think that thought out loud
Yeah.
and go back in.
Oh.
Oh, I do apologize. I'm announcing my presence cordially to not surprise anyone, but I am fascinated by what it is that you might do, and I would like to learn more so that I can help others, if that is okay with you.
But of course, could indeed begin. I apologize. At the moment, I'm attempting to ascertain certain fluctuations in the chaos and spreads of magic. The winds, you understand, are hard to follow at this moment. You are more than welcome, but I will not necessarily be as cogent or able to explain verbally as I would like until such a point as I have completed my examinations.
That is fine. If you need anything, I can go and grab it for you to help out while you concentrate.
I do appreciate your offer, sir. You are very helpful.
And I'm just going to sit here and watch until then, so let me know if I can do anything to help you.
But of course.
And then he's going to sit down on the floor, with crisscross applesauce, and watch.
Roll me an awareness.
You got it. I think this one is going to be a good one. Oh, I critted.
Oh.
I done critted. 29.
You can see the faintest glow, like heat haze. That kind of mirage heat haze just wavering off of first Iskander, and then it kind of spreads over Javik, and then kind of over the whole space. And it's kind of, you see brief throughout times this fluctuation, almost like sound wave fluctuation, and you know, going through highs and lows, and almost as if the resonance is trying to be, you know, Iskander is trying to match a resonance.
Cool.
And we're going to take the camera and for that moment just focus in on that shot of Iskander sitting on the stool next to Javik. And take the camera out the window and follow the two elven siblings as they cross town to Gwyneth's house. Here.
And Ianto sort of getting into his means of mind shielding, which is just to get very embodied, right? So he's just like, you know, he's just sort of fingering like the edge of his leather jacket, just to sort and concentrating on the feel of the texture, or his toes in his shoes, just like all the things that are very sort of physical, of the senses, right? So he's sort of putting himself into a very embodied space, and just sort of concentrating on the edges of his body and all sort of all the bits of his physical self, to sort of get himself out of his mind and into his body, because he has practice in doing that, shutting off his mind and being in his body for reasons. And he does, and he just says, as they're heading towards Gwyneth's place, Samuel, have you met Lord Iskander before?
Not per se, but I know that Master Javik has a personage that he communicates with that he says is right important around here. More important than the Baron, so there's that.
I would agree with that.
Yes. Anything that we should know?
Their letters, and I guess he gets real happy when they come.
All right. Do you know for how long?
Years.
Most likely as long as Javik has been here. A dragon, I would assume, Monasteries is great interest in a mage moving into their town.
Indeed. Would you, Samuel, I never asked this before, but did you work for Javik before he came here?
Sort of. Me dad worked for Bernard, and then I grew up around there, and...
I see. Did Javik have connections with this with the Lord Iskander before he came here? If you knew.
I don't know.
Right.
He always said this would be a grand place to hold his experimentations, and there would be a perfect location, that there are things that make it best, I guess. But you know him better than I do.
Yes, but I've only known him for 3 years, and you've known him longer. And I did not know about the dragon.
Now, to be fair, Master Yanto, you definitely know him better than I do.
Well, in some ways, I imagine so. Although, if you've known him all your life, I imagine there are things about him that you know that I don't.
I wouldn't say that I knew him all my life. I said I grew up around Bernard.
Oh.
There are a whole bunch of crazies living in there, you understand, right?
Well, I've never been. At all.
If you think the explosions that Master Javik gets up to in the house are bad, you don't want to ever go to Bernard.
That is fair.
Like, there are no controls. There was the incident with the chicken and the horse, and I don't ever want to think about that ever again.
Well, I imagine they must have instructors or some such to rein them in, perhaps?
Last I heard, well, my dad always used to say that the instructors that they have are not so much for the reining in types, but more to just kind of tell them to go and do whatever the hell they want because it is a grand expression of magic or some shite like that.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, there was the time that somebody decided to get very, very plastered shit-faced drunk, and there may have been a spell tied to the sentience of horses and giving them the ability to randomly appear on roofs.
Oh.
Because it would be funny.
Oh. And a thought slips in his head at that moment, and it's just like a flash of Javik's face in his head, and he just thinks to himself, "Oh, I am lucky I found a good one." And then it's like, nope, back into not thinking thoughts. Oh, well, let's hope that everyone else in the village is all right. Yes.
Aye.
It was just like a little slip, right? Because there was just this a visual, right? A visual of like explosions and who knows what is going on in that place, and then just like this sort of appreciation of Javik being Javik, and that was like, nope, cannot have that in my thoughts right now. Cannot have it. So I think we will hit Gwyneth's house.
It is a small house on the eastern side of town. There's a larger pen behind, more for communal purposes for the local shepherds. Not hers, it's just happens to be the edge of town location where it's located. Her house is simple. One room, cottage, thatched roof, and there's a small candle light glow from inside. There are... It's painted, and you know this because you've been here before, so the house itself is like whitewashed, and there are green and blue flowers painted along the sill and lintels of the door. Which, you know...
Green and blue,
And
it's
there's
beautiful.
a statue of Lilavani in the front garden.
I'm going to try the door, see if it's unlocked. Or if it's latched in some way. Just gonna test the doorknob.
It is unlocked.
I'm gonna step to the side, look at my sister, with my hand on the handle, to sort of give her the look like, "Are you ready?" Turn the handle, push the door open, and stand back, so I'm not. If there's like a
Yeah, I'll walk in.
gout of fire, I'm not gonna get hit by it. Just in case, you know. Yep.
Well, the dragon's in the bakery.
Hey, you never know. You never know what's going on. This is like clearly a bad situation. And then I'll poke my head in.
Yep.
You know, I'm on alert. I've got a little bit of practice paranoia. I'm just on alert for traps or ambushes at all times.
Would you like to roll that practice paranoia?
Only if I don't have to roll it if I don't need to. Because, you know,
Okay.
like it's just like if there's nothing to worry about, then I don't have to roll it.
You seem to
Are
think that there's something to be worried about, so why don't you just roll it?
But that would sort of imply that maybe there's something to worry about. And
Well, you'll know for sure if you roll practice paranoia, won't you?
17.
Nothing
poking
that
my
you
head
can
in.
see. Nobody around. You poke your head in and Brenna, as you walk in,
Yeah.
the house is quiet. You would see it's a very simple one room. There's a curtain kind of hanging from, that's been without a rod, that's just been nailed up onto one of the beams.
Yeah.
Kind of dividing like a sleeping space from the rest of the house. The hearth fire is out, but still warm.
Okay. Same as the bakery, basically.
Same as the bakery.
Okay.
How about that
and
candle?
The candle.
Because how
in
much
the
has it burned down?
Window.
Hmm.
Roll me awareness, please.
Because there's like the question. Because like the last thing we know, this would have been last night when this thing has happened. So we're just I'm just trying to assess like, okay, 22. Was she like somebody must have lit this candle? Was this candle lit last night, or is this candle not that big? Do you know what I mean? Like just kind of like assess like passage of time.
Yanto, you notice that the candle is burning, but not melting.
Uh-oh.
Just question. I would. Oh well, maybe not. Maybe not. Because I know that Javik is not necessarily super religious, and I imagine we probably did not do a lot of social calls with the
Point
priestess.
out the weird candle.
Oh, I will, but I have a question first.
Okay.
I have to get a bit of detail, but it's possible we might have been there before. Like, we might have actually had to like do some kind of social niceties and be in this place. The question I would ask is it known for? Would it be known to a person who has been to this place before if this is a thing that she normally has? Like, does she normally have a magic candle that does not melt, or is this not a thing that we would have seen before?
I don't know. You know that she always has a candle in the window, and it's always burning.
Okay.
You can roll me a retroactive awareness
For the past.
for the past to see if you would have noticed its.
Ooh, a fumble. Let's
Is
see.
the candle here?
A
The
10.
candle
I
in
will
the
say
bakery.
that the candle that is burning in her window looks exactly like the candle that's always burning in her window, and you don't remember anything further about it. Brenda, you have a question about the candle.
Yeah, the candle. Does it look like the candle in the bakery and the candle the unlit candle that Gran was holding?
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
gonna-
They're not all some weird, creepy candle cult. Cool. Just had to
No.
make sure.
No,
I'm gonna nod-
this is like
a home candle, like a religious candle.
No,
Like
no.
a beacon in the darkness.
Yeah, stop. Give me a minute to answer the question.
Go ahead.
God. The candle that Brenna had next to her and the candle that Gran and Lencia have were both dinner taper candles. Like you go out to a fancy restaurant and they're like, 12-inch
Yeah,
taper.
taper candles.
White. They were pure white and they had a ribbon in green and white ribbon tied at the bottom. But they were unlit. This is a big, thick, heavy,
Like a pillar
round,
candle. Okay.
but it's like an Easter pillar candle, like a big, the big ones
Yeah,
that you see in the big churches.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I just had to make sure they weren't all the same candle, because that would be sus as hell. So.
You could see, with that earlier awareness for the location, you see two figures in this room. Both
Are they
um,
Baldwin and Gwyneth?
Gwyneth seems to be lying like just inside the curtained area of her bedroom, and what looks like you're pretty sure is Baldwin is kind of like seated in a chair and like leaning, arms crossed and fallen asleep with his head down at the table.
I check on them both
Okay.
to see if they're like, yep, same sleepy curse, or if one of them is just wakes up like creepy like.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Because I'm pretty sus of Baldwin right now. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
I might even search him if he's asleep, just to see if he has any weird mandrop stuff on him.
Cool. Could you roll me a awareness?
I'd love to. Oh, that's Witcher training. That's not what I want to roll. Awareness.
Or investigation?
16.
16. Who are you starting with?
I'll check on Gwyneth first
Gwyneth
because
is,
she's laying down.
Yeah, Gwyneth, she's kind of fallen. Again, she's got another one of those long white
Yeah.
tapers with the ribbon tied at the bottom next to
Oh.
her.
Unlit.
Unlit.
She never made it to the festival. That's concerning.
Hmm.
Heckin' concerned.
And she is, again, fully asleep. So, nope, no reaction.
Cool. I just put her fully on the bed, tuck in, check on Baldwin. Check on Mr. Sus.
Check on, as you call him, Mr. Sus.
I mean, he's really
does-
hot, but he's also really sus.
I'm keeping my eyes peeled for ambushes. Like just like watching the
Like
doors,
people with chloroform.
Yeah.
Haha.
like doors and windows. You know what I mean? Just like people might attack us at any time.
Cool. Hey, Brenna, can you roll me a resist magic, please?
Okay.
I would love to spend some luck on that. Yes, I would. What's my resist magic? Let's spend 2 points of luck on that.
Okay.
Resist magic. 2 luck. You
Ooh.
can't get me, man drops. Twice I've crit on the man drop roll.
Okay.
I'm working on immunity slowly. Oh, fuck you, Baldwin, you sus as hell, motherfucker. Sorry, that's out of character.
You sure? Because it sounded in
It
character.
really did. That was like
If
totally
there
the
was
voice.
no accent, it would have been like, fuck you, Baldwin, you sus as hell, motherfucker. Is that what it is?
All right, yeah, you win.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You
Yeah.
don't. Nothing happens.
Sorry,
You-
I just had reaction.
You did. But as you're going to search him, there's this
Oh, yeah.
moment of magic.
Oh, does it feel like the snowdrop magic did?
No, it does not.
Oh. Oh no, what kind
It
of magic
does
is that?
not.
Well, I resisted it, hopefully. So.
That one,
Hopefully.
yeah. That
That
one.
one.
You did.
Oh.
Oh boy.
And as you look up, feeling that magic again, I need a resist magic roll from both you and
Oh.
Yanto.
What
Yeah,
the
I'm out.
kind of magic does
My
this
friends.
feel like?
Bad
Oh,
magic.
it's been a nice campaign, y'all.
Bad
No, it's cool.
magic.
It's cool. Oh, hot
I
pockets.
think-
Yeah.
I think another 2 points of luck would be nice to have here.
You know what? I'm not gonna spend any luck. But I'm probably gonna go unconscious. I hope. Like, I hope it's just unconsciousness. You know.
Oh,
Fuck, Baldwin.
You
Oh,
would have much preferred the unconscious. This is not going to be unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
I need a.
Let's see a fumble for so let me get my fumble roll. So that's gonna be a 6. There, I don't.
Is he not actually asleep?
No, he's
See
not
y'all.
asleep. And as he the first spell he attempted to cast didn't work. He immediately snapped his fingers and shot out.
Ah.
And shoots.
Well, if he's
in both-
immediately resulting with violence, shink.
Yeah, that's great.
As long as he doesn't mind
Lindy.
control us now or something. Yeah.
I did not get my practice paranoia. Ooh, I was so paranoid. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
you
it's fine.
You were very, very close, but you didn't roll high enough.
At least we told the dragon
Mm-hmm.
and Billy where we went before we went there. This is why you tell people.
I hope
Before you
Samuel's
hate
okay.
these
So,
things.
so
I hope
what
Samuel's
happens
okay.
is, so this is what happens.
Mhm.
I'm
I
out.
need you to. You're not out yet. Why do you assume that sleep is what's going to happen here? That would be so
No,
nice.
no.
But
I might be
means-
out in terms of like evisceration. I'm just saying that's like a 6 versus a 31, which is like by 25. That's like a massive
so
critical success, right? That's
the
bad.
first snap of his fingers shoots out, and the light from the pillar engulfs you, Brenna, and you're going to take 7 fire damage, which goes immediately through armor.
Through my armor. That's fine.
It
And
doesn't sound fine.
Cool.
Trooper,
Yeah.
Oh no.
Magic crit tables, right? That's like a thing. I bet. But it's like a
funnily
cool
enough,
thing.
no.
Oh.
It just changes a couple things.
Oh.
You're going to take
A lot more
Mm,
fire damage.
22 fire damage, which immediately goes through your armor.
Oh boy. Oh buddy.
And
Cool.
as the
Cool.
flames engulf both of you, I need
I didn't even do anything.
both
just
of
standing there.
you.
To roll initiative?
Well, first I need both of you to roll a d100.
No.
Oh, to see if we're caught on fire.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
33.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's the year. That's how old Jesus was when he died.
I roll a 1.
Trooper!
Yeah. I roll a 1.
Trooper, you
That
are
is-
on fire.
I thought so.
Oh,
I'm pretty hot. You know what I mean?
You're
Like,
going to take. So here's what's happened. You're going to take 3 fire damage every round until you put yourself
Until
out.
you stop, drop, and roll.
Okay.
Which
And that
thankfully
is
it's
an
really wet
action.
outside.
There is an action to do this.
Okay.
Ah,
Feeling good about it?
guys.
Feeling good about it?
It was a good run.
I'm feeling good about this. I just took 22 damage, and which is great.
And three more every
Yeah.
turn. You
Yeah,
know.
3 more every turn.
And now we
Including
can
this
roll
turn?
initiative. Not
Now we
including
can roll
this.
initiative. Sweet.
Okay. I'm engulfed in flame.
14.
It's real good.
I rolled real low. I keep rolling really low
Aw,
initiatives.
he
Oh, that's
rolled
okay.
poorly.
Good job,
He rolled
Baldwin.
poorly.
Do I have a penalty for being on fire?
No, you do not have a penalty for being on
Okay.
fire. Your
It
penalty
just,
is you
it's just
can't.
damage. Your
It's just
penalty is
damage.
more and more damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Brenna, Yanto, then Baldwin.
Well, I'm glad he attacked me first, because now it's self-defense. Yeah, out comes that steel sword. Shink! And I'm gonna try and hit him because that was really rude. I could run out, slam the door, and yell, "I found the culprit, Mr. Dragon!" But I'm not there yet. Because I assume he heard the dragon enter town, is what I'm saying. I think that's why he's set up like that. Is so if the dragon comes in, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm gonna stab him a couple times, hopefully. Just going for the torso. Let's see. Where is my swordsmanship? Fast strikes. Not an extra action. With my steel sword, we'll go for torso. And then more torso. Because I don't want to... Well, I kind of do want to decapitate him, but I'm not going to.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Oof.
How about a
Ooh.
38 and a 21?
Yeah.
So he is going to attempt to first parry
Okay.
the first attack. With a 14 he's
No.
going to suck, but he did attempt to parry. And then he's going to attempt to...
What is he
Hey
pairing
guys,
with?
that's a 24 damage. That's
His
a 24 damage
staff.
difference.
His staff. Okay.
Which he,
Just saying,
which he
that sounds like
pulls
a
out from under the
deadly
table
critical.
that he's got in front of him.
Yeah, okay.
So-
I was just curious, you know, what we were looking at.
And the
It
19
passes.
is not a deadly crit. Is not the
Not a
19
deadly
versus
crit.
21 is not a crit.
Just a regular hit. So let
both
me
of
roll
those
up
hit.
some damage for you with my steel sword. My sword.
Yep.
17 and a 17.
Thank you.
So
And roll me
Math.
2d6.
6. Take that 34 damage and a deadly crit, sir.
So an extra 7. Come here, crit table. An extra 10 damage. So, oof, that's gonna hurt. That hurts a lot.
What I do?
You
Said-
impaled him.
Nice. Nice.
So he is suffering currently from septic shock. The blow damages, you stab him through, and the first blow just goes through his armor and
Nice.
ends up impaling his intestines, letting waste enter your bloodstream, which takes him a bunch of penalties, and he is poisoned until he deals with it.
I feel
I
good
don't know
about
what
that.
poison does in Winter, but I imagine it's not good.
Poisoned, the poisoned effect, does 3 points of damage every turn, which armor does not negate. To stake off the poison, you must make a
Beautiful.
DC 15 endurance which is an action.
Cool.
So, yes.
I'm tempted to spend stamina and hit him
Do it.
again
Do
for
it.
just
Do it.
being so rude.
Do it. I'm on
Um,
fire.
It's pretty rude.
It was really
Sorry,
rude.
just ignore that because
Yeah,
it's,
I'll just spend that 3 stamina.
Because
I'm-
you just wanted to check in with him to see how he was doing. You know what I
I
mean?
did just want to check in with him, and I didn't say out loud that he was super sus. I just have been thinking it real hard to myself
Well,
as Brenna.
I was
time.
thinking it as Zianto earlier because I was like, I can't
Oh.
figure out his weak spot. That means he's a pretty good liar. I don't like that at all. I
Just
don't like when
gonna-
people are good
Just
liars.
gonna. Can you non-lethally sword butt hilt somebody in Witcher?
you can.
Cool. I think
You make it a
I'm
call.
gonna go for.
You make it a call
call.
action, and if the damage would put him out, then we would just.
Sure. I'd like to non-lethally try to take him out. Try to take him down with these attacks. Yes. With my nope, not weapon name goes here. Steel sword. Boop. Boop. Torso.
Torso?
Oops. Oh, that first one probably doesn't hit. 14 and a 24.
So the first one, he definitely escapes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then he's going to dodge again the second one, and yes, I am taking his penalties into account. Oof, but
Ooh, but he crits,
definitely-
so-
he crits and gets
Yeah.
out.
I just
Yeah, he's got a 30. He's getting that out of the way.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair. Then that's it. That's all for me. Just the sword came out, impaled, slice, and then whiff. And then it's my brother's turn.
Your brother takes 3 fire damage at the start of his turn.
I scream.
Good.
I think that's probably how I do it.
That's pretty fair.
I think that's fair. As I'm engulfed in flame, in a
Can I
bad
say,
way,
what did you do to the town as I'm whiffing?
but like not in a good way, but in a bad way. And I am going to stop, drop, and roll. I'm going to try to put myself out while I scream in my mind. Easier! Just like in my mind, right? Just like that's all I can get as I'm like engulfed in flames.
Could you roll me a spell casting roll?
Sure.
I'm just
I mean,
using this. I'm using this as a
if you
gauge for
want.
how strong you are.
Yeah.
You know that certain people are paying attention, but
Yes. But they're also distracted. I have 7 luck, and I'm going to use all of it. Just going to use it all. That's what I'm going to do.
Just
Because
roll that.
I am not a spellcaster, so I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. As I scream on the ground, a 17.
okay. I will let you know what happens with that next. But
Okay.
it is an action to put yourself out, so you are now out. You
And
are
crackling. I smell bad. I smell like burnt.
Yeah, the hair is fringed. Your outfit is.
It's bad.
Oh,
Your
no,
outfit
your
is
hair.
I know. There's like
Your
a
poor
lot.
eyebrows.
Are you just naked now?
You just...
I feel
No,
like the
he's not
leather's fine.
naked. I mean, like it's just like that. That
He
outfit
just...
is not gonna get.
He's not as
saved.
pretty.
No, it's real problematic.
Those eyebrows, though. They'll grow back.
No, but you look weird without eyebrows.
It's true, but they'll grow back.
I'm sure you have the makeup
have
to do
makeup.
with it if you want.
I do.
But Lindy,
Yeah, make a resist magic roll? Is that what you were gonna say?
I need you to make a resist magic roll. Yes, and
That-
then I'm going to.
You know,
have
I
to do
had a
something else.
feeling that that's what you were gonna ask from me. And I'm gonna spend my last 2 luck on this, I think, because I know he's a really good spellcat, but those 2 luck might save my ass. So
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
19
Oh,
27, yeah.
27. Oh, that seems.
at least helps mitigate,
Oh.
maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not as much as you wanted.
Oh.
No, it's an 8, not a 7, but it's not like a 24-point difference.
It's also wouldn't. This is not one where the difference is going to be an issue. It's just the fact that there is
Oh.
one.
Oh.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see
Um,
what happens.
It has Samuel run away, I hope.
I hope Samuel's run away.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
Samuel went running.
Okay.
Good
Fire,
boy, Samuel.
fire. Samuel went running.
Okay, good. Because
Brenna,
he's also hot, you know.
Yes.
you feel something
Oh no.
overtake you,
Oh, drat.
and you are confused and disoriented, and you can't understand information. You know that there's information coming in, but you can't parse it. It's like that cotton-headed feeling of like,
Super brain fog.
yeah, so much so that you question every piece of memory, every piece of information. You're not
Oh,
sure who this person
wonderful.
is, and you are stunned
Cool.
until you can roll under your intelligence save. At
Okay.
Which you can do for your start of your next turn, at the end of your next turn.
Okay. Cool.
But
Okay.
when Brenna goes stunned, Yanto, you see Baldwin stand up, walk by Brenna, walk over to you, kind of lean over, and his
Oh.
stomach is bleeding.
Yeah, he doesn't look great.
Yanto, can you roll me an awareness?
Maybe. I mean, it's yes. I hope that this guy gets a lot of negatives because I smelled like burning flesh, and I bet that would be distressing for him, just psychologically. I'm sure he's never just set people on fire before at 20. So maybe he's just going to be so upset by my burning flesh that he'll be distracted.
You noticed something as you were watching.
Mm-hmm.
The bleeding of his stomach is stopping.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And he smirks at you. And steps over you and teleports away.
I want to remember something about him. Something. Or can I get a piece of his clothing? Something. I want his blood. I want something of his on me before he goes.
I have a lot of his blood on my sword.
I don't know.
Roll me.
Saying.
Well, let's see. Roll me an opposed athletics versus his teleportation.
How about sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand will work as well.
To like,
I'm just gonna say, I don't think priests are supposed to be able to teleport.
that's weird. But I would like
Yeah.
to sleight of hand something off of his body as he's passing me by, as I'm like, because I feel like
He
magic
gets to
people.
the other side and he's like, why do I only have one sock?
I was like, huh, I got your sock. 19, but it's a fumble. Let's see what we got. So that's a
go
9. Let me do it
again.
again. That's a 0. I rolled a 0 on my
How?
sleight of hand.
You
Oh my
are
God.
still in so much
Yes.
pain
I
as
tried.
you are been burning, and you reach out, and as he smirks over you, you see it in his eyes, Yanto, and you know people. You know people really well. And you see in his face this unrestrained hatred for you as he disappears away. And
No.
that is
We're
where
gonna
we're going
take
to
our
take
break.
a break.
Yeah.
Yep. I
We'll
don't
see you
like
in
it
a
when
few
people are better
minutes.
liars than me. I'm just
See you
saying.
in a few minutes. Bye, everyone.
Oh.
Hi.
We were muted, but the captions were still pulling that up, so ignore everything because there are secrets happening backstage that we cannot talk about because NDAs are a thing.
Yep.
We love you all.
Secrets. We got some secrets.
Ooh.
Lots of secrets.
Sticks.
Hi, everyone. We're glad you're back. Thank you to that anonymous donation for the wonderful Putus. And thank you to Rothgar for helping us finish up our art fund. That will be for art for both the Switcher campaign and for Blue Rose, which is on Sundays. I cannot wait for things that you'll show up with. It'll be great. It will be great. But we left off in the house of Gwyneth with our dear Brenna not really with it at the moment. Yeah. And Yanto in pain on the floor from fire.
Yep.
But you hear Yanto a very loud, very angry dragon who basically... Well, let's wind the clock back a little bit.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
All right, well, I'll see you guys later. It was nice playing with you.
What
I like how
happened was
you're-
that Arzo
it's nice
insulted
playing
the
with you.
dragon.
Like how Billy shifted his tone from "it was nice playing with you guys," like "haha, you went and fought the mage," to like "it's nice playing with you guys."
So, Billy, let's wind the clock back.
How do you wanna do
Arzo had
this?
been watching Iskander, you know, focused this heat wave of magic, this resonance attempt to sync with Javik. And can you roll me a human perception?
I'm sure I can do that. Ooh, boy. Okay. 16.
Not bad. Like I said, as you said earlier, he is kinder to Javik. He's almost gentle as he's examining him and using this magic. And then you see his head snap up and away. And he cocks it and you hear in your mind, I believe that someone is attempting to mess with my town even more. You might want to run, little dwarf. And he stands up and takes 3 steps outside the door, and just beyond the door he transforms again into this very large red dragon. And there is a cry and a belt as he kind of leaps the houses. It doesn't fly. It's not far enough for him to need to fly, and he's quite large, correct? But it's easier to cross this distance. You know, 1, 2, jump, land, right about here in just above Gwyneth's house in that open area near the fields. And Yanto, you would hear then that scream of a dragon. Arzo, what do you do when you see Iskander?
He walks out the front of the bakery.
Mm-hmm. And then turns into a big red dragon with scars.
I'm going to run over to Javik and you know, my stout little attractive dwarf frame is going to pick up Yavik and promptly scoot out the back, trying to take extreme care of Yavik while doing so.
Okay. So you and Javik are out the back door.
And then he's going to try to sneak to his brother's place to hide out, I guess, or like in passing, try to see, like, all right, so why did the did the dragon do this?
You would have seen the dragon just kind of jump the buildings, and as you're going north to the forge, you would see the dragon kind of land just north of Gwyneth's house here, you know, as you're approaching here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you would see the, you know, it's still dark, however, so you can't see a lot of details, you can't see a lot of what's going on. There's the light shining in Gwyneth's window, and then this, you know, then you see the dragon disappear, and that's Yanto. When Iskander's going to walk into the building, I need, however, an intelligence save from Brenna.
You just need to roll intelligence or like a stun save, or
It's like an if you roll an intelligence,
just roll a d10. Okay.
If you roll it, you have to roll under your intelligence.
Okay, so I'll just roll a d10. If it's under an 8, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
You come back to yourself.
My sword's just dripping blood. And I look around. Where'd he go? Where did he go? It's like you're talking, but I cannot hear you.
I'm still smoldering. He teleported away.
Teleported? The priest. I somehow doubt he was a priest now. I'll step over him as well and look outside.
Everybody just steps over me. At least you don't step on me, so that's cool.
No, I would not step on you.
You see, as you step outside, Iskander
Just like kind of like in the doorway at least, just to kind
it's
of.
like as you're standing in the doorway, Iskander has landed and is transformed back to his bipedal, human-ish form. As he's kind of coming. I believe there was a call of distress. Your brother intimated that he had discovered the location of the individual who was responsible for the negative behavior, you know, as he's walking by you.
Yeah, just lean down, grab him up.
You look quite disheveled and distressed. Are you all right, sir?
No, I'm not.
And then I also go to make sure Gwyneth isn't on fire in the room as well.
Gwyneth is not on fire. She is still asleep in the bed that you left her.
Just wanted to make sure that the fire wasn't big enough and she's just burning alive on a mattress asleep and we're ignoring it. That's all.
It was targeted specifically to the two of you.
Just wanted to make sure.
Rude.
He can do that.
Still rude. No, I'm not all right. I think I might throw up. I don't feel good at all.
If you need to vacate your stomach of anything you have since ingested, I would advise doing so not towards me, please.
No, of course not. Your Grace. I feel like I should sit down somewhere.
Yes, you do not look well.
No.
Apparently... Would I, as a witcher, in my limited knowledge of magics, would I know that priests teleporting is a thing that doesn't usually really happen?
Roll me education.
I would love to do that. Education. 13.
It does seem odd,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
how many
But, yeah.
high-level archpriests have
Not-
you been around?
Not many, but it does seem odd.
Uh,
He
Can I roll education? Because this will be one of those moments, because right now it's 3-1, and I feel like I should have a chance.
You want a chance to see if you can attempt to tie your sister? Go ahead.
I do. Because I have met many people in my profession selling jewelry.
And perfume, apparently.
14.
barely. We rolled the same number, just a little bit better.
Yeah, just, I'm gonna... 3-2. Go ahead.
It seems
Also
a little odd.
dating. I'm also with a mage right now, so I know some stuff.
Yeah, it's a little odd for a mage to teleport. Or not a mage, but for a priest to teleport.
Yeah.
But again, it's not.
We don't know a lot of
Priests
high-level
have-
priests. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
pi-
mysterious.
They have magic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he very obviously had magic that he did. So
The out-of-town priest who has apparently been here before, Baldwin. And she'll just give a brief description. He was not asleep, but he was pretending to be when we were checking on the priestess. And as I was going to search him to see if he had any tampered with anything, he attacked us. And I got him fairly well, but not enough to stop him from teleporting away, it would seem.
He was healing his body.
Oh, well, he was a priest. Well,
he just,
maybe a priest.
His wounds just started, closing up. I assume it must be some sort of magic or something like
He was
that.
definitely using magic.
Well, yes. Also, he is, well, he's a good liar, I'd say. We should find Arzo. I'm not doing well.
no, you are not. You do necessarily require a medical professional, and he is obviously a much better prepared one for your species than I am. I will also say that I left him with your Javik, and
At that moment, it's like focus on the pain, no other thoughts. It's just like there was like a pause, and it was like, then that pause was like, nope, pain, not thoughts, not thoughts, not thoughts. It was just that it was like, no, like these are not. I do not want to have. Nope, no thoughts, because they'd be about Javik and cannot have it. That's, you know what I mean, like not.
Can you, Vok?
and I believe he has vacated the bakery and has moved to the forge where his brother usually resides.
And Yanto sort of like straightens himself up in order to move, but it's clearly like not great.
So the minute you try and straighten yourself up, a hand kind of reaches around you and reaches around your shoulders gently and with softness, being very careful of you. You can attempt to resist, but Iskander's going to pick you up.
Oh, I am down a lot of hit points. I'm not going to resist. I'm just going to.
Yeah, let the dragon sweep you off your feet. Just let it happen.
Hey, you know,
I think Brenna, as she sees him getting swept up, is like, if it is alright, I will catch up in a few minutes. I wish to examine to see if he left anything behind.
I'll say, don't forget the Baron in the mansion.
Yes, the Chernoff. Mm-hmm. I will meet you at the forge.
I will retire then with the gentleman, and we shall see you anon. He literally bridal sweeps Yanto up, and he's being very careful with you.
Because I'm a little crackly. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when you're like, oh, my flesh,
Cringy.
Yeah, my skin is.
It's gonna be a real bad sunburn, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm getting. Oh.
You better hope that something doesn't happen with Javik first,
Oh,
or
no.
you know your healer can help you. So
Oh no.
he will carry you towards the forge, but we're gonna keep the camera on Brenna for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Brenna, where are you? What are you going to do? What are you doing?
My Witcher 3 senses activate, and glowy trails and paths of clues light up.
Oh.
No, I would like to look
Nice.
around because he was obviously staying here, and these people have obviously been asleep long enough for the bakery to be almost cold. He was not pretending to be asleep that whole time.
Mhm.
She would assume that happened when he heard the dragon come in. So she's going to look around the house and see what he was up to, because most likely he was up to something. He was doing something. Maybe he left anything behind, anything that doesn't look like it's been here for a very long time, to see if he left any clues behind. Surely he didn't have everything on his person. Or if he did, maybe he left at least some residues, some
And maybe he
hints.
was surprised and he had to, like, he couldn't gather
Yeah.
all the stuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Happen.
You could roll me.
Yeah, she's just looking for
me,
things
an
out of place,
awareness?
left behind.
Roll
Sure.
me an awareness.
Things out of place, things left behind. 16.
It's hard because this isn't, you've never been here before, so you're trying to kind of gauge what's out of place or what's not supposed to be
if there were
there.
snowdrops, or rather man drops or anything, that'd be one thing.
You do find a couple bundles of herbs hanging from the ceiling, but they look like they've been there for a
They've
while.
been here a long time. Yeah.
You see some mandrake intermingled in that, but that's not uncommon for local apothecaries to have.
No, I had mandrake on me. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't find any snowdrops. You do see the blood trail, and you see like the blood wound of the wound, and then as it walks towards Yanto, the drops become fewer and fewer.
Smaller and fewer. Yeah.
You're pretty sure that he's regenerating or healing in some manner. And as you're looking around, do you stay inside?
For now, what she does before she goes outside to examine, she'll make sure she hits everywhere in there. She'll also, I'm assuming, being the priestess, she'd also have some various healing implements. She'll take a cloth, like a bandage, and wipe the blood off her sword, wrap it up, and stick it in a pouch, like a waterproof pouch, like an oiled pouch, so that way she can have that just in case for later.
One thing you will notice with that awareness, just as your brother noticed earlier that the candle wasn't melting, it's still not melting, and there's no heat from that flame now.
Oh, interesting.
There's light,
Tempted
but
to
no
snuff
heat.
it out, but I don't want to do that just yet. But she will definitely make note that this is a heatless, non-melting candle.
I have worry.
And then she'll go outside and give a walk around.
Roll me a wilderness survival.
Of course.
Oh my goodness.
20.
So, one thing you discover is that you know that the main bonfire was in the center of town,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you notice that there were smaller bonfires
Interesting.
all around.
Interesting.
there was a spot right here
Mm-hmm.
that you recall as you're kind of walking around and looking things over and looking for things that are out of place. All of these smaller bonfires, which, you know, were basically like hay bales that had been lit rather than just a big bonfire.
Yeah.
There's a scent in the air now that you're walking through it. And that space where there is no fire has that same scent. It's pungent and acidic almost. It brings to mind something, but you just can't quite put your finger on what it is.
Okay.
But it's like definitely more than hay.
Okay.
And
If she could, from the residue of one of the smaller bonfires, because this spot doesn't even have marks on the ground like there was a hay bale there.
nope. You just
Okay.
that scent is in that same area.
Then probably from like this one because it's close. That smaller. If she could pick up some of the burnt hay to get some of that scent, so she can bring it to Artso because he seems to have a good nose,
Okay. We're
and
gonna
she'll go to the forge.
follow you to the forge, but we're gonna rewind the clock. You know, a half hour, 45 minutes, assuming that's how long it takes you to go around and look through everything. Ardzo, as you're hiding your brother, or not hiding in your brother's, are you hiding in the forge or his house?
His house, like upstairs in a bedroom, like. All right, so this dragon turned into a dragon and then went into a home as a human. Like, he's not trying to ascertain the threat. He doesn't want to be a fighter in this situation. He wants to take care of the things he can take care of, control the things he can control.
You went upstairs?
Yeah, to a bedroom, perhaps.
Can you roll me an awareness, please?
I sure can. That's physique, right? It's a joke. 21.
The bedroom, it's kind of like a loft, you know, open one bedroom kind of area, and then there's like another closed room in the front that your brother keeps more as like a mini workshop where his, you know, store his ideas, his writings, all of these things. But the back section of the house is basically just his bed or overwhelming, and it's not quite bachelor living with laundry and various inorganized piles of this is clean, this is mostly clean, this is I could wear it one more time, and this is God no, this needs to get washed. But it's close, right? It's close. Your brother is not happy homemaker, one would say. There is someone in his bed when you get upstairs.
Okay.
It is
Well.
not him. And it is not a dwarf.
He'll gently and calmly lay Javik down on the ground in a position that looks comfortable, and then approach the bed with half caution.
There is a person, not a dwarf, male, you're pretty sure, scars along a side of his face, human-ish, black, close-cropped hair, the eyes are closed, there's big, heavy leathers in dark greens kind of around him, and there's a mark around his neck. And the scar on his right side of his face, there's also the salt and pepper of his hair is darker. There's grays and whites in his hair versus the very dark, nice, full black of the rest of his hair and beard.
Are they breathing?
Yeah, roll me a healing hands.
You got it. 25.
Yes, he is breathing. Yes, he does seem to be healthy.
Does he look
Well,
like
not-
similar to the other sleeping peoples that we've come across
He looks
in this?
similar to the other sleeping peoples that you've come across, but he has similar injuries to Shades as when you found him earlier. None of the signs of interrogation, but restraints at the wrists and at the throat. Also, pressure marks around the throat that definitely give the impression of somebody attempting to restraint with aggression.
And how many people can the bed fit?
If one were to perhaps say that Zerny has invested in what might be known in certain circles as the party mattress.
I don't understand. What does that mean?
You could probably fit at least 3 Geralts and Jasker.
So yes, you can fit more than one person there. And
There's your fanfic art, everyone.
3 Geralts. Oh, you have clones.
You could fit Brenna and her siblings on this, but
At
And probably some more.
at least a few of her siblings.
yes.
So he's gonna pick up Javik, and first he'll move the sheets on the bed, so it's like an open spot. Pick up Javik and put him on the bed and cover him with the sheets. And then at the foot of the bed, he'll sit down and rest his back against like the footboard.
Cool. It is not long. Maybe another 10, 5-ish minutes after you get there and are comfortable that you discover that you hear the sounds of movement downstairs, and you hear in your mind, Master Ardzo, is it acceptable that I and my companion ascend the stairs and approach you? I would not wish to disturb you if you are in respite at the moment.
He'll acknowledge the voice, press himself up to a standing position, and walk down to greet Iskander.
You would see that he is holding Yanto in his arms in a very, very, very gently, very carefully. Yanto looks crispy.
Like, how bad crispy? Like, as far as human flesh goes, is this like, ooh, he needs to see a specialist? Or is this like, we'll put some stuff on it and it should clear up in a couple of days?
I'm not feeling good. you know, if you had like, if you could like think about a person, like you wouldn't think about a person numerically, of course, that makes no sense. But like, if you were going to sort of like put numbers on a person, like an arbitrary scale, you know, let's say like an arbitrary scale of like 0 being dead and 35 being totally healthy, like just like, you know, just kind of imagine it, right? Let's say that this, like, let's say Yanto's like at a 10 out of 35. Let's just say as like arbitrary scale, just like pondering it, you know?
Okay, he'll go over to one of his brother's like workbenches on the main floor, take some stuff off, put it in the corner. Could set him down on the table, please. And if you are interested, I can walk through everything that I intend to do. Iskander.
I would quite appreciate that. The sharing of knowledge is always enjoyable for me. And he would very gently lay Yanto on this workbench and then kind of lean over. Well, actually, he's almost 7 feet tall and you're not even 5 feet. He's kind of very much looming over you at the moment, but trying not to get in your way. And he's doing a pretty good job of it.
He'll dig in his pouch for the salve that he used on Brenna. Now this is something of my own making. I can, you know, it is a, as you say, secret recipe. I can't really just trust people to use this stuff with caution because it does have its side effects. But I can share with you the recipe after. But what I'm going to do is, I've already got the stuff on my hands. Iskander, can you take off all the clothing where he might be burnt for me, please?
Are you okay, Yanto? Because Iskander is going to strip you naked.
I'm glad I'm spending 45 minutes outside of the house right now.
Do you want to speed up and just like walk in an awkward way and be like, oh no?
My sense of painting.
And you have like the funny music. Wah, wah. No, totally fine. Except that of course I imagine like some bits of flesh come off with the woolen hosen.
Well, thankfully you're wearing all natural fibers.
I am.
So
I was
no
going to go with,
melting.
I was going to go with polyester, but then I decided not to in the end. But yeah, so all natural fibers like you know, linen, like linen shirt, woolen hosen, double woven, a leather jacket, right? So like good protective natural fibers that don't melt. But you know, there's some.
He will very, very gently and very, very carefully. Almost, and Yanto, you're the only one who would hear this. Ardzo, you don't hear this, but Yanto, you hear in your mind this kind of soothing melody, almost like a lullaby. Could you roll me a resist coercion, please?
Sure. I mean,
that's what you get for having a sexy PC, right?
It's true. Critical.
You thought we might seduce the dragon. The dragon's seducing you.
Yeah. 24. I'm just going to note that.
Little did we know the dragon was a bard.
Yes, I'm just noting that Yanto is. I'd say it's like his like will is. He likes to indulge in things. Is all I'm saying. Like I've not invested a lot of.
You slowly start to fall asleep.
Ooh, I made it by 1 though, but I'm feeling good about it.
You came close.
Yeah, because I did. I made it by 1.
And it's soothing. It's not, and it's comforting. And there's something in it that's that you know could, because of your profession and your understandings of things, could become sexual, but is not, right? At the moment. It is.
I, as I'm like falling asleep, right? As I'm like feeling myself go, I just sort of look up at Iskander, and there's just like this. It's not coherent, like the thoughts, because I'm not thinking to him, but I'm falling asleep, and there's just like this sort of question in my mind again, there are no words. It's just like a question. Like I'm seeing his face, and then I'm seeing Javik's face, and there's just clearly like a question of like what their relationship is. That's not it's not particularly verbal, but there's just like what is their relationship as I sort of like drift off.
Ardzo, you would see as Yanto just kind of slowly drifts off. Iskander just kind of brushes very softly, like the bangs out of Yanto's face. Very similar to how he did with Javik earlier.
They were his pets.
So then he'll start taking the salve and like applying it, and then describing like how it has to be applied to different wounds and different things like that. And like for burns, you want to make sure, because I don't know how much you know. You change into a, as you say, a two-footed person, but our skin has several different layers to it. Obviously, if you chop an arm off, you can't really see it because it's all freight, but there's the skin that grows, and then there's the skin that dies and protects on the outside. So you'd have to take the salve and rub it in deeply so it gets into the skin that grows, and over time it lessens the damage of the burns, just like this. And he'll like take the salve and like go in and some of the burned areas where he might wake up, because this might hurt a little, and like jam his finger.
At that, you would hear, "No, I quite guarantee that he will not. I needed to ensure that the gentleman did not think that it would be appropriate for the gentleman to be in pain for an extended period of time. So I ensured that he would not."
That is good news. Then that helps with the procedure very much. So, so just like this, and then would you like to try?
But of course, I do appreciate it. Now, is this kind of like, I understand how like you have to keep moisturizing. My skin does get a little bit dry on occasion and requires certain attempts to facilitate such, and scars are, of course, limiting. Is the same effect for you?
With regards to scars, if it is deep enough, absolutely. We cannot regenerate some of them, but there are lots of creative people out there, especially in the world of magic, that can cover them up. That is not the world I choose to live in, but it does happen often. And then, go ahead.
No, keep going.
He'll take like a little dab of the salve and take Iskander's hand and like put it on his fingers, like where he usually spreads it out. Pick just to start. Pick one of the lighter spots. You are a big person, so do not press too hard. But don't think of the word hard. Think of the word firm. Like you are disciplining a child. And
there's this
like
moment.
This.
He's nodding along with you. He's not verbalizing anything, but he is nodding along with you.
Oh, I don't know what happened back there or how he got these burns. Do you know what went on?
I believe there was an altercation with a gentleman who may or may not have been a mage or a priest. I did not quite understand the full description of the Witcher, but apparently this individual, Baldwin by name, had engaged in behaviors that were suspicious for the Witcher, and when they were attempting to disguise their sleep, then attacked them. I'm assuming with some sort of fire magic based on the overall impression of the amounts of damage done to Yanto and the lack of damage to the building and others around.
Interesting. Well, I am glad this is not worse than this. You know, Yanto is very special to me. Sometimes I don't know why, but I care about him very much, and you know, I would hate to see anything bad happen to him. And it would have been sad too. He just found his sister he was looking for so long. He had me talk to her to try to convince Brenna that you know, they were that she was in a good spot, but you know, when Yanto has to ask me to convince somebody that, you know, he's having some trouble. You know.
Yes.
Do
Mhm.
you talk to people often? Do you interact with animals? How do you?
I mean, most animals are not sapient, you are, of course, aware, so they are not the best conversationalists or provide the most riveting discussions or academic treatise. I do on occasion engage with certain bipedal creatures or sapients, such as Javik, various members of the Chernoff family, and I have had discussions at times. I have, of course, engaged with some various others at various points in my very long history. But I quite enjoy it. Do you not engage in conversation and discourse? It seems that you are quite good at it. I believe it is to your advantage.
I talk to my brother. I talk to Yanto. Sometimes he is a pain in the ass, but you know, I love him. So, do you have a lot of experience with you say you don't get a lot of academic discourse with you know, the animals, which I understand, but there is a certain level of emotional intelligence there. Do you acknowledge that?
On occasion, this is of course true, but most animals do have a slight problem when engaging with one of my kind. Their overwhelming prey nature means that they are, unless they are truly sapient and can overcome such things and engage in the discourse with me, it is slightly difficult when everybody's running in fear that you're going to eat them. I mean, to be fair, I do eat a lot of them. They're crunchy and they taste good with ketchup, but
you know, it is, I suppose, it's a throwback to our earlier conversation, only natural. But in the instance of animals, they have young. You know, they have little, whatever you call them, pups, depending on the species of the animal. I don't know. There's something about Yanto that reminds me of a lost pup. You know, when you look into his eyes, depending on what voice you are going to get. Yanto, you know, I saw the real Yanto. You know, that's why I don't interact much with people. They show you the best version of themselves, which is not really good. But I think Yanto is the one I saw all the way through. And that held a special place in my heart. And I'm not good at getting out my emotions, so that's why I'm saying this in words right now, because I don't know how I feel. I don't know what you're supposed to do about it, but I want to thank you for listening.
Of course, I'm happy to listen. Are you feeling some sort of romantic entanglement or attachment to Yanto that you wish to express at the moment?
Romantic entanglement, that is a limiting word choice, I feel. But
Well, I assumed affection was a given. I was merely just trying to ascertain if your affection for him had transitioned from that of a caregiver or a provider to one who wishes to have a more solid and balanced partnership and or possibly engage in sexual activities, which I am aware that bipedals engage with it to an extensive amount.
I see and understand your question and your curiosity towards the matter as a whole, but there are some things that can't be defined as of yet, if you understand my meaning. Sometimes light, you can call it light, but light comes from the sun, light comes from the moon, light bounces off of the lake, light bounces off of the metal of Northman's armor. It is all light, but it is all different.
I do understand you're attempting to gauge the affections that you hold for the gentleman and how this interaction and such. I look forward to seeing the developments in your relationships as they go forward.
Well, I do not. I'm sharing with you now. Hopefully, I feel a little uncomfortable now that it's just a bunch of voyeurism that is about to happen. And
are you
I
not?
suppose,
Are you one who does not engage in such? I mean, I understand, but I really. The amount at which you bipedals engage in sexual activities in public places and or places where one could stumble upon, do you understand? Do you know how many people just walk into the middle of the woods and be like, oh, we're gonna stand here and there's nothing I can see, so obviously we must be alone and in private, but no, there's quite a lot that I have seen.
Now, this experience that you have had, it seems like you have had several times. If for me to grasp this a little better, this may come off as rude. If you do not mind me asking, how many years have you been on this plane of existence?
$122,347.
That, no offense intended, but the limits that you place on such things at that age seems a little shocking.
Oh, I do not place any limits. I'm merely expressing things that are frequently my unfortunate experience. It is no longer shocking to me that this occurs, it is merely saddening. Particularly when it wakes one from a sound sleep after a very pleasant dinner. Also, I sometimes wonder if certain members of your species do not discern color in the same generation, because I am red, not black, and my hide is not a rock.
No, I get that. I just urge you to look at it from a different angle. Let's say, for instance, some kingdoms of the south, they capture large animals and keep them in cages. So the only exposure to these animals that a lot of people have is seeing them in cages where they're vicious and cruel, and because they are in cages and that's all they know. But they don't see them in the wild, and they don't see them for how they really are. So I'm telling you that us on 2 feet are not all like that. I'm sorry if that has been your experience.
I thank you for that. I understand. I do appreciate that. It is not usually my experience that I struggle with. It is just sometimes quite entertaining. I mean, to be fair, I do understand I understand how bipedals could find pleasure and enjoyment from such activities, and quite frankly, it is not beyond my enjoyment either, but sometimes I do wish that individuals would be slightly more aware of their surroundings.
Oh, what I said before, definitely some people are assholes. But you know, for a lesson in learning, you are more than welcome to cast your gaze upon me, or I find myself different, which is why I live in the woods by myself.
You also smell different, but I was not going to comment until you mentioned it.
That is an accurate observation.
You do not smell, what is it, your dwarven, as other dwarves I have experienced do.
Oh, well, my diet is a bunch of weird herbs, so...
No, I've come across that before. It was quite an enjoyable experience. Who was it? It was the King of Mahakam. Oh, must have been about 2,000 years ago. Quite enjoyed recreational participation in certain things. Mushrooms was his poison of choice.
Oh yeah, mushrooms are great.
But you do not smell like that.
Not now.
I do not comment, like I said. Who else
Well,
is
I guess
here?
this could just be a new chapter. Who? What did you say?
Who else is here? And he starts...
Oh, I put Javik upstairs in the
I
bed.
know, Javik is upstairs, Yanto's on the floor. Brenna is about 200 yards and approaching the house.
I thought that maybe once Yanto wakes up, he's got a lot of friends that Yanto probably knows this person.
Oh, there's someone else that... Oh, probably then Yanto knows them. Alright, we will have to say...
I mean, you can go up and take a look if you like. I trust you.
Oh, is that acceptable? I do understand that this is the abode of your brother, and I would not wish to impose myself beyond the boundaries of courtesy and politeness.
He's not here.
Well, if that is acceptable. And he will leave and walk up the stairs.
I'll follow, because now it's a party.
And Yanto's still downstairs on the table.
But still naked, butt naked, but still butt naked. Huh? For when Brenna comes in for maximum embarrassment. Not of Yanto, he doesn't care. But for Brenna, yeah. Just don't forget.
Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to forget going to the Chernoff house. Oh well, I should just go.
So right now in this house, there's Javik, Samuel, and Samuel followed you followed Iskander and Yanto, and he's kind of gone upstairs to kind of stand guard over Javik because that's what his job is basically. And and the gentleman who is still unknown in Zerny's bed. He goes upstairs, and Iskander is just very... Again, he stops and kind of takes that long finger with the very filigreed gold jewelry talon and brushes the hair off of Javik's face, and then turns very quizzically to the gentleman in the bed and reaches out with no problem whatsoever and just kind of peels the lids open of the eyes. And that's when you would notice, Ardzo, that his eyes are Witcher eyes. Gold.
Oh, great. Another one.
I am
And he
not
says that
aware
out
of it.
loud.
I do not recall this particular individual. I am not aware of his. He is new. Intriguing. There are not many new that I have not yet met.
And how is he asleep and has not woken? 2, 3, are they not supposed to have a resistance to things like this?
I'm assuming they all have resistance, but at a certain point, a well-placed curse could overcome that. Also, the striations around the neck definitely give the impressions of strangulation at some point, which, of course, I'm quite aware that you would have observed, a man of your medical professionalism. And
You are correct.
such a thing would naturally lower his ability to resist things as the body is less capable in such a moment.
I guess I just thought higher of witchers.
I mean, they are so much better, but if they are, if he was already physically impaired or unconscious when the curse began, then he would have no ability to physically engage in overcoming it.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. It's just that in the limited amount of contact I've had with people, and then amongst that, the conversations I've had about the Witchers, they are talked of as a step above humans. But this one just looks like he could get stabbed in the stomach with the pitchfork.
I mean, they are a step above humans, but really, humans are, well, humans.
You're not wrong. Hey, is it true? I've heard this somewhere that dwarves cannot harness the chaos and use magic. I think, if you've got a lot of time on your hands, I think that is something that I'm very curious about that.
For my understanding, the way in which your biology functions, it prevents the magic from actually transferring through the channels of your body. Now, there have been those that have experimented on using magic on dwarves, and it does not seem to usually work beyond the general expression of emotional magic or such things like curses or hexes. But an actual targeted magic, such a thing, is usually less easy to express, when you have a greater resistance to the mental persuasions or powers. I mean, we could have an extensive conversation about that as well.
Oh, I think we should. Maybe not now, maybe later. I feel like there's plenty of time. There's a lot we need to teach each other.
I quite enjoy our conversations. You are a very pleasant individual. Oh.
Thank you. I think you were the first person to say that ever.
Brenna, what you doing?
Thinking about how underappreciated I am. No, it's fine. I remember what Yantor said about checking out the turn-off manor, but I did just walk around here, and I feel like with what's just been happening and going on, that I should check in and see also if Artso can identify the scent before I go to the turn-off manor, and they're like, haha, we're the ones wielding this thing or whatever. So she's going to pop by the blacksmith's house.
You know what that means.
I do.
As you open the door, Artso, upstairs you see Iskander just kind of turn and point his, look at the door as if, look down to the stairs as if he's looking down at the door, and you hear in your mind, Mistress Brenna has arrived. And as you open the door, Brenna, your brother is butt-ass naked.
I close my eye. Close the door behind me. And I just turn, and I walk with my left side towards him. And if there's like a dishcloth around, I just drape.
More artful drapery.
And then not seeing anyone else downstairs.
Excuse me, my brother uses that to wash his hands.
It can be washed. That image can never be washed out of my brain now.
What is the big deal? it is just. First off, it is just
My
your brother, right?
Yes, I don't
Just
want
naked.
to see. No.
Who cares? Who cares? It is a body. It is what it is, okay? I don't know what all these people have, these problems they have with seeing. It exists, and you need to deal with it.
I know it exists, and I dealt with it. Now,
No, clearly you did not. You are in the process. You are apparently traumatized.
traumatized isn't the right word, but I just,
Mm.
I have no desire to see that ever again. I just.
Okay, nope, nobody's
everything
making
fine?
you, but I mean, you're making a big deal out of it. That's all I'm saying.
Is everything fine here? Is everything all right?
I think so.
Javik,
There's another Witcher in the bed upstairs.
sorry, what? Says another. May I see him? Them? Her?
You can go upstairs, I'm sure. Just, say hello.
Let me see if
With
maybe
Skander.
I might know them.
Well, I
I
could
mean, not all
describe it,
witchers
but
know each other, but
I could
if it was
describe
someone
them
from
to
my
you.
school.
But yeah, I didn't look for a medallion. I was more concerned that there was somebody in the bed in my brother's house.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Mhm. So I'm going to tend to your brother here.
Yeah, he
and
got really burnt. Like, there's some singe marks.
how did that happen? What?
Um,
You went to somebody's house? Did he jump into the fire?
No, the fire jumped onto him very aggressively. It was, Baldwin, the priest from out of town. He was pretending to be asleep and was not actually asleep. And when I attempted to look for clues, he magicked. I did stab him really good once, though, so. But he's regenerating, apparently, so it's.
Do you
And then he teleported away, which seemed very strange for a priest to do. So
you
he might
you
be
said you
a
stabbed
mage.
him?
I did.
Do you
Oh,
still have
also-
some of the?
Yes, I have some of the blood, and also, what does this smell like to you? I cannot place it. And I have that.
What is
burnt
that?
straw
I don't want
hay.
burnt straw.
It is burnt. There were smaller bonfires in the village, aside from the large one, and they all have a very peculiar scent, along with a spot that has no fire, but also has this peculiar scent.
Okay, well let me smell the blood first. Because if I smell this thing and I die,
You're not going to most likely die. I did not die from smelling it, but I'll pull out the bloody rag first.
oh,
Hey, wonderful Ardzo.
oh shit, yeah.
I need you to roll something for me.
Is it a physique?
No, it is not physique. It is
And what is it then?
not physique. Where is it?
What does he need to roll?
Come on.
Just tell me.
Spit it out already.
This is not the Tuma.
I need you to roll a resist coercion.
What?
And I have a question for you, Ardzo.
Bears.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Let's see.
Never mind.
You haven't killed anything today, have you?
I don't think I've been in combat today.
No, you haven't. Not all day. So just a straight resist coercion.
That is ominous as fuck.
Worry.
It is a 14, which could be worse.
Could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. Ardzo, you smell this blood coming off of this sword, and you have this overwhelming urge to shift.
To shit? Shift. Sorry, I missed the F. Shift! I'm like, okay. I'm sorry, I totally missed the F in that one.
You have this
okay.
overwhelming urge to shift. You can stop yourself.
Yep. Okay, so he's going to.
But you will be turning tonight. You will have control of yourself, but you will be turning tonight.
And he knows this from whiffing this.
Get a whiff of this guy's
it's
blood.
So
trapped.
angry that you want to, and it smells like something you've smelt before.
Interesting. So he's gonna need to take some notes. And you said it was on a rag, or is it straight off the sword?
It's on a rag.
Okay.
She wiped her sword off because she was going out. She didn't want to have the sword out the whole time, so she wiped it on a rag and then put it in a little satchel. Like,
If I replace this rag, can I have this one to study?
I borrowed the rag. It is not mine. You can have
Perfect.
it. Yes.
And then he
tell me
gets
anything
very
about it.
he gets very curt. He gets very short. It's like, I'm sorry. No, I have to. Give me a moment. I'll be back. You go upstairs.
Right.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Upstairs.
This
and
is
then
fucked up.
She leaves him. She leaves him be, and she'll go upstairs to look at this other Witcher.
And Arzo's gonna go outside, get some fresh air, and try to figure out how the fuck he's gonna manage this.
Are you muted?
Cool. I am muted. Thanks, guys. The scent that's coming off of this rag is anger-inducing in your core. And you don't know why, but you can make two connections to this scent. The last time you smelled this was the last time you saw Zolkard. And the first time you remember shifting.
Remembering that one forever.
Technically, those were two separate events, but tied by this one scent. That is now now that you're holding this rag and this blood, you can smell it.
Okay. Secondly, the rest is going to be him figuring out what he's going to do this evening.
Cool. We're going to follow Brenna upstairs.
Who's that Witcher?
There is a very attractive male Witcher, burn scars on his face, salt and pepper hair, mostly tied to the side of his face, right side of his face where he is scarred, short cropped, full beard. Human. He does not look familiar.
Okay, in that case, I'll look for a pendant to see if I can see which school he's from. Or any other clues, because each of us has a distinct fighting style and origin of sorts.
Go ahead and roll me an awareness.
Sure thing. 19.
You do not find his pendant.
Okay.
But you also notice that he's not dressed in his armor. You don't find any swords. He's very much dressed almost like a peasant at this moment.
Okay.
You again would see that, distinctive striations around the throat that look like, also around the
Are
throat that
his
look like
fingers
strangulation.
broken like the other guys?
His fingers are not broken. He doesn't have any of the signs of interrogation.
Okay.
He does look as close to dehydrated as a Witcher can.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice something. Arzo is focused on the medical.
Yeah.
You would notice that on his left pec above his heart are two vipers entwined.
School of the Viper, most likely then. Cool. Well, I mean, it could be a different tattoo, but I'm gonna guess it's School of the Viper. Okay. Interesting.
And Yanto, you are very comfortable. You do recover, what is it? 3 hit points for the, salve that Arzo gave you. You're slowly coming to awareness. Most of your body has got that cool breeze, except artful drapery of a towel.
Which, as I'm coming to, just sort of like, not much thinking about it, I just kind of pull that towel off because cool breeze everywhere is feeling very good for burnt flesh. That's, yeah, and I'm just like, trying to figure out. And then, as I'm coming to him, like, start concentrating just on the feel of my body on the table.
You don't hurt.
Oh. Oh, I look around to see where everyone is. Where
As
is
you
everyone?
turn your head, Iskander is kind of leaning with his arm on the wall, like right above your face.
Oh, hello. Thank you for taking me here. Where is everyone else? Did you see the man, Baldwin?
I did not ever come across the gentleman in person. Your sister is upstairs investigating the other Witcher. Javik is upstairs in bed with the other Witcher. Arzo's
the what?
Arzo is outside.
Wait. I'm sorry. There's another Witcher?
Yes, apparently somebody tried to strangle him. It is most upsetting, I'm sure. He is also under the sleeping curse at the moment. Arzo is outside. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but he had an emotional reaction to the scent of the gentleman that your sister stabbed. Also, would you say that you are a usual example of your species?
Oh, in what way? I mean, there are many ways this could be taken. In what way?
Well, you are very intriguing to me. Your mind is not the same as your voice. Your attitudes are very deceptive in a way that is honestly intriguing to one of my species. You would be surprised at the number of my kind who wander among you, and it's just a great way of understanding or attempting to understand the bipedals who have joined us on this continent. I'm just intrigued at you and your relationship with others.
Oh, well, I don't think I'm... Oh, that's a... and it's just sort of like there's this. It's a process of like, don't think, answer. What answer? Don't think. Don't think of what you don't want to answer. I don't even know what I don't want to answer. What am I supposed to say? There's like all these like little thoughts about like trying to triangulate what the correct answer is at that moment. Am I typical? I think not, though I wouldn't say I'm exceptional. I think I think there are simultaneously no one like me and perhaps far too many people like me at the same time. It was what I imagine.
I am, of course, intrigued by the differing of your accent between moments. I like these things. Mysteries, you understand. Stories. I like a good story. But your sister is currently upstairs. So is Majavik. I should bring you upstairs to him, and he will pick you up.
Oh, all right. I might be able to walk, but it's all right.
And carry you upstairs.
How long have you known Javik?
Less than 2 decades, I think is how you... Yes. Yes, it would have been about 12, 15 years ago now. Yes, I believe that is correct.
Ah. And then, like, the thoughts are all, like, it's like once that answer happens, all of a sudden it's very clear that Yanto's blinking thoughts so that no other thoughts about that information happen. But, like, 12 years. Nope, no thoughts. It's a...
You go upstairs and Brenna has the sheets pulled back on one side and the shirt pulled open of this witcher.
Oh, well.
Maybe that's how I found that tattoo.
Oh, I see. Hello,
she's just
sister.
looking. Oh, hello?
Are you concerned? Why do you hide your face from your brother? Are you not related? And he kind of sets Yanto very gently on the bed.
Oh. Also, why are you stripping a witcher? It seems awfully forward of you.
And if she wasn't a witcher, she'd be like completely red in the face right now.
Yanto finds this amusing and so does not cover up, but just sort of like stretches like, oh, I've just been burned really badly and I'm so injured.
All she has to do is just put a divider here because she can't, because she already has a blind spot. I was trying to ascertain what school of origins this Witcher is from. He's from the Viper School, I would guess. So a fellow Southern School Witcher, such as myself.
I'm going to look at him. I probably don't know him, but I knew a Viper Witcher, which that image probably.
He does not have any of his Witcher gear or his medallion, but he has a Viper tattoo.
Well, he could have been in love with the Witcher Viper.
He has Witcher eyes.
Well, I imagine witches date each other sometimes, don't you think?
Yanto,
happens.
Looking at this tattoo, can you roll me a deduction?
I can, if you wish.
Do you have a Viper tattoo? Yeah, I didn't see one.
I rolled a 14. Okay, so first off, it's not how it works. I'm supposed to dunk on you because I'm the older sibling. Don't say that loud. No, I don't say that loud. Why ever would I have a Viper tattoo?
I don't know. You dated a Witcher once?
A
wolf?
No.
Bear?
No.
Manticore?
No.
If it wasn't on your other side, I didn't see it. A tattoo of proclamation of love.
Yes, you're right. It was a viper. I imagine you guessed because I'm in this area anyway.
Yanto? That tattoo looks real familiar.
I imagine I knew someone who had it,
Yep.
who is no longer alive, I assume.
Yep.
Hmm. When I say, oh,
The face is not the same.
the face on the snakes are not the same.
No. The face on the Witcher is not the same.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. One moment. If you don't mind. My sister has sort of stripped this person a little bit with open chest nakedness.
Yes. He has pants still. She didn't go there.
You know, I am going to note the tattoo and note that the tattoo is of the same style and make.
Location.
Mirror.
Location. Sure, but I mean, maybe Viper Witchers do that. It's possible that they have like a school tattooist. I'm just going to check. How do you say this? His body, and by that I don't mean I'm going to be like feeling him up. But you know when you know someone's body really well, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, like the angles of their neck and. Like if they have a mole here or there, just like you know someone's body really well.
Certain scars.
Yeah, certain scars. I'm gonna just, since his chest is open and everything, I'm just gonna look at it. Like my eyes go to the tattoo. I note that it like the same thing, and I was like, oh, it actually looks really the same. It looks really the same, but it could be like similar. And so then I'm gonna basically scan my eyes over his pecs and then look at his traps and just kind of look at his body, giving it an assessment. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you roll?
I could roll seduction.
Yeah, actually, no.
Asleep.
I think this is appropriate for you to roll seduction on. Actually.
Because sometimes I know people's bodies. I've sometimes seen them.
Yep. Yeah. I think this is really appropriate for you to roll seduction on.
29. Do I know this body?
There are differences, but it's real damn familiar.
Mm.
There are a couple scars missing, but there are a couple other scars that are in different places. But everything else looks almost a mirror image.
Well, that's strange. And I think that at this point in time, Yanta's been pretty good at keeping his thoughts on lock. Do you know what I mean? But this is throwing him, right? And all there is just these images, right, in his mind. Just images of walking, right, in the woods, traveling. It's like a flood of memories is what's happening, where it's it's just like a flash of Yanto looking younger in a bedroom in a tavern, and the sun is streaming in through the window, and he and a witcher who looks somewhat like this person but not exactly like this person are just sort of lying in bed talking, and then they're walking through the woods, and then there's a manticore, and then there's violence, and then there's a pyre, and then there's Ardzo. So it's just this kind of flood of memories that are just sort of kind of just overtake Yanto in that moment and then of course just the body, there's this sort of these sort of flashes of the body itself and little scars. I don't think he had a twin, but he seems his
familiar?
Yes, his body seems familiar.
To the Witcher you were with.
Yes. To the one yes. But his face is different. So and and it's just like this moment where I reach out to touch it, but then I stop myself. That scar there was somewhere else, or slightly different. That's strange. Do you know anything about this, Brenna?
I do not know him. I just started examining. I assume he's from the Viper School, but that is all I'm able to figure out. That and he was strangled a bit.
No. I mean, do you know anything about which?
Oh,
rituals
Kikamorph
or-
scars, sir. Oh, there aren't any witcher rituals once someone's passed their trials.
Oh well, and I know you all have. You're mysterious, and like his mind is now just like images of like.
You don't think this is the same person, do you?
Well,
Who died?
I wouldn't, but the bodies of this are similar, very.
Well, maybe he did have a twin and didn't tell you, and she'll start to put the shirt back on
Maybe.
and then tuck back in.
He did
It is
die.
odd how he got here. With Otso's brother being kidnapped.
That's you. Art is outside. I wonder if he recognized him. There's something.
He needs a little bit of space, and I don't think he knew him. He just said the other Witcher.
Oh, I see. It's It seems he was. There's a ligature mark on his neck. It looks like he was probably suspended by his neck by a rope as well.
Or
which-
someone asphyxiated a bit with a belt cloth
Yes,
restraint.
is it the same type of rope? Is it the same type of marks?
Yes, and again, they weren't ropes. They were definitely
Yeah.
like a solid band all the way across. So nothing that
Perhaps.
looked like rope marks or even a
Mhm.
belt buckle.
Yes, I suppose. But I think about. It seemed to me that Shades was probably, and like in his mind, what you just in case somebody's spying would be like, no, I said it. Well, whatever. Just kind of like, he's like, it's not his real name anyway. I think he was maybe suspended as part of torture. I don't know if what
Or-
all.
Restraint
Perhaps yes.
to take someone out. Ugh. It's not easy to take out a Witcher like this.
I don't think Baldwin would have done this by himself. I mean, if he has magic, I imagine he would have just used it rather than all of this.
That is if he was by himself. We do not know.
Yes.
I wanted to check in before heading off to the manor.
Brenna,
Yanto?
and before I ask this, I'm going to think back. This might take a little bit of time, so there might be like a little bit of a moment. Have I ever met Baldwin before? I have met a lot of people in my life, and I'm just asking if I just wanted to make sure that I haven't somehow met him in some kind of a way, in
Oh.
some kind of context before.
Mhm.
You do not recall ever meeting him ever before.
Okay. And so, like, there's like what you can see is Yantu like going through a bit of a Rolodex, as it were, like thinking, like, Brenna, wait. And it's like years are going by for a second in his mind. I don't think I've ever met him before, but when he stepped over me, he looked at me with such a depth of hatred that I'm not used to seeing. It felt personal, but I
Maybe he was not pleased that we were onto him, or maybe he doesn't like elves. Or
perhaps
I do
but-
not know.
it was so intense, you know. It Is it sort of a hatred that you just don't have?
Maybe he's
Casually.
done research on you.
Well,
Oh, also, do you know what this smells like?
all right. Let me see.
Hey.
This is hay. All right. Ooh. What does it smell like to me?
You know, Yanto, it smells like something mixed with that perfume you keep importing.
Oh.
Is that Teen Spirit?
Yep. It is. It smells like Teen Spirit. Yep.
It smells familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
What's the other thing? Can I roll alchemy?
You can roll alchemy.
Sure, I will do it.
Artso seems like he needs some space for a few minutes,
A
so I figured I'd ask my
17?
brother,
17.
because he's into perfume.
Well, this seems to me like a bit of a mix of different notes.
It smells like hellebore underneath that fine perfume that you import for the South.
So, before I answer this question in detail, might you tell me what this is and where it's...
Oh, well, I was investigating to see if he had left any clues behind. As in my search took me outside of the house and around the town again. There was the large bonfire in the center which had the man drops, and 5 other smaller fires, like hay bale sized, and a spot in town, almost in a circle around the bonfire, that did not have a fire, but still had this scent.
6 or 7. All right.
6 total, only 5 fires.
Well, and the one in the center would be the 6th, wouldn't it?
No, that was the bonfires.
Yes.
5 smaller fires around, circling around it.
Oh, I wish Ardsa were here. My thoughts are that, well, I'd say Helleborg was the undernote, and the overnote would be, so hard to say. Probably Fistek is probably what I'd say.
I do agree that it is most likely Fistek. It gives me such a desire to sneeze.
I will get it out of the house then for you.
I mean, in this form, it's not so bad, but last time somebody snuck up with me, they were claiming they were going to end the world, rid the world of my evilness. It was most upsetting. They were very intoxicated on the substance. I could not...
Oh.
I had to apologize to the gentleman. I did not intend to light him aflame, but he made me sneeze.
Well...
And a dragon... I mean, it's... a side effect. I apologize.
So, all right. What sort of? So, I'm thinking if there were 5 or 6, 5 bonfires, small bonfire spots, and an empty one, that says to me that perhaps Baldwin was standing at the space with no bonfire, doing whatever thing he was doing, and then just making an idea, supposing, which says to me he probably had helpers who lit the other bonfires.
Most likely.
Probably you have to do these things all at the same time, I imagine. There's rituals and whatnot. Unless he was at the center, but that means that he had at least, I assume, 5 allies. Which
We
also
can assume
means...
up to 5.
Yes.
6. Well, we will assume up to 6 allies.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, usually such things do require assistance if there's such a curse that, well, I mean, such a complex ritual as this, which means there's probably some sort of underlying...
But the
Well,
question
that is
why.
intriguing.
What?
And Iskander, not really paying a lot of attention to you, kind of walks over to the bed, leans over Javik, smells him thoroughly, then leans over the Witcher, scents him, turns, cocks his head. Yanto, you're gonna have to kiss them.
What for?
So for Javik, that's to break the bind to the man drop that he needs to overwhelm the scent, because at this moment it's kind of overwhelming his mind and he can't get out of his nostrils.
So glad he called it a man drop. I'm just gonna say that right now.
I mean, that's technically a DM thing, but I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love that he's picked that up from us.
Yes, he's picked it up from you guys.
We've named it.
Usually such things could be, of course, a scent, common curse of, one's true love and whatnot. But,
Well, of course. Before I do, and there's just clearly, Yanto's like looking at both of them, and is like, other thought for a moment, just thinking about
Quick succession. Witcher first.
It's just like not gonna, like, no other thought. Distraction, selfing distraction. If they did this, then why? They wanted everyone asleep.
usually
Yes.
such things are so that they can slowly drain them of the life force and use it to facilitate another spell.
Oh,
I
but
was
then,
wondering why they would put a whole town to sleep. Yes.
Well, if there's the whole ritual aspect of it, then there's a focusing point, and then there's a draw from the focusing point that would then cause them. So there's obviously energy being transported from one side to the other, which explains
So
why I
the more-
could not.
And the more we wake up, the better. So.
Exactly, it disrupts the understanding. And so, but of course, I assume that Yanto doesn't want me to kiss Java, because I could do that. It'd be very entertaining and interesting. But I get the impression that there's this romantic entanglement between the two of them. I have seen the painting, though. It is quite awful.
I just nod. I nod. Yeah, yes, there is. And I'm keeping my gaze very high in the room.
could I clarify something about this just before? Just to clarify, could anyone kiss Javik and it would work, or only some people could kiss Javik?
Well, I would
and
assume
it
there'd
would
have to be some. With Javik, it's a little different because he was attempting to ascertain the magical inflection, so he would need some sort of a tie to the individual, and therefore would
see.
to bond, an understanding of a relationship. I mean, I could do it; it would work for me. I don't think your sister would work because that would, well,
No,
I mean, they are related, so that could possibly be a thing that could happen, but I don't think it would have the same ties, the same bonds. It would be corrupting.
no, I would rather not.
I just was wanting to get a sense of
What about
how,
Savitcher?
how close. Yes. So.
Well, he's
and look,
subject
this,
to the curse in general, and therefore, pretty much, I'm assuming most humanoid species would be okay with this. And since Yanto obviously engages in extensive relationships with a number of people at various points in time, I did not think he would be upset by this,
So
how
we
did
just
he
have
know?
to
How did he know?
kiss. We just have to kiss the entire town. Is what you are saying?
I do
would
not
that
assume that it would have to be the entire town. Perhaps only a few people, and therefore it would spread amongst others, and therefore that you could engage in other.
Right. You definitely should kiss Gran. I'll say it to Yanto.
Like, and Yanto just sort of smiles, like, yeah, yeah, all right. Well,
Now,
and
this
then-
is to understand merely a theory, and I do not swear this will work 100% of the time. My magic and your
They
magic
are,
is a little bit
and
different.
Brenna just mutters under her breath of Zavitchers are never going to believe this is how we kill sleeping curse on the town.
I'm gonna look at
I
both
will
of
say
them.
that I will say it definitely works with Javik.
And Yanto.
80% sure it'll work with other people, but again, my magic and
It's a
human bipedal
20%
magics-
difference, yes. This is a
Well-
fair estimate.
Well then, I will.
So do you want to kiss them both? Just one of them?
Well, I will. And it's again, it's just like back and forth between the two of them.
Uh-huh.
In
And
his mind.
Brenna is kind of enjoying this bit of Yanto.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he enjoyed just striding on ends. She's enjoying this just a little bit of like,
I think we have that relationship. Yep. Oh, well, I suppose if we know that we'll work with Javik, then I suppose we should start with Javik. And
whatever you wish to start with.
and what's happening, because some people can read minds, in his mind is if I can wake them both up, which one will be more jealous if I kiss the other one second? So if I kiss Jarvik first, will he be more upset if I'm kissing Alvar? Or if I kiss Alvar first, will he be more upset if I'm kissing Jarvik? So it's clearly like this idea of like, who's the one, like, which one should I kiss first? What? Oh, and you just hear, damn it, as like thoughts like. Well,
I apologize. Usually I do not engage in understanding of one's mental barriers, but however, for the purposes of this, I need to lower my mine significantly, and you're being very loud.
I'm so sorry. I have been trying.
If you want, I could kiss one of them. I would not kiss Jarvik, so we are related. It shouldn't.
Well, I will kiss them both. It's all right. Also,
Are you
it may
sure?
not-
If
may not
it's
even
a
work
burden,
if-
I would hate for it too.
It may not even work if you do it. So, I will.
If we have that Witcher connection, I don't know. It could work.
I'm going to. And it's just like. Alvar would have to understand because he's been dead for many decades. So he should understand. All right, yes. And so there's just like, this is the calculus. Probably this will cause less drama. And he goes and he leans down to kiss Alvar. And he's just inches from Alvar's lips. And he's like, I wonder what Otso is. All right.
Side.
Oh, yes. All right.
I could have him come and watch too if you want.
No. Stop it.
Would you like to put on pants before you wakes him up?
No. And then I kiss Alvar. That was just the poke I needed from my sister, because now I feel like it'll be more awkward for her than it is for me.
Could you roll me a d10?
It's a very gentle kiss. Like trying to figure out if the lips are the same. Like it's like a very sort of like is this the same person?
The Witcher under you starts to wake up. And there's this moment where a right hand comes up and moves through your ear, through your hair, over your ears.
And I just put my hand on his hand.
And we're gonna take the camera outside for a moment. Hey, Ardso.
Y'all.
Can I help
What
you?
you doing? What you doing?
What am I doing? Freaking out. So he has pocketed said blood rag, put it in an area where he at the bottom of something, so we can't just like get a whiff of it, and he'll pace around. His breathing will get heavy and labored, and he'll try to like take like relaxed, calm breaths to try to clear his head, and it's nothing's working, nothing's shifting. So what he'll do is he'll look around, he'll grab, he'll look at the forge, he'll find his tools, his brother's tools, like a chisel and a hammer, and in the dirt, right outside the front door, in where it's still kind of soft, like a topsoily, he'll use that to, if there's rock, he could knock through it, but most of all, it's soft enough to do it with a chisel. He's going to write, "Dear friends, something came up. I will return in the morning." And leave the tools there and walk towards the tree line.
You walk towards the tree line, and as you do, just as you hit the tree line, the shift overcomes you.
Oh.
But unlike the new moon, you are in control, sort of. You have an awareness. Your mind is hungry and angry and emotional, but you can restrain yourself, mostly. Can you roll me an awareness, Ardzo?
That doesn't sound good at
The
all.
where?
Oh,
Is
yes.
that, no, use the...
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take whichever one is higher, but it's technically the wrong one, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Woo. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
That's a little higher, yeah.
smell two things as you break the tree line. You smell a bunch of things. You smell the burnt hay, the mint and rosemary that are supposed to be part of this ritual and usually in the bonfire. You smell the fistek that's permeating this town that shouldn't be there. You smell the hellebore that's burnt. Again, that shouldn't be there. You smell your brother's blood.
That's a lot. And you know, the transformation itself is a painful process with bones cracking and skin stretching and sudden bone growth. No one should have to experience that. So he lets it all sink in for a moment and tries to see through the haze or encapsulate all of the directions. And as he's at the tree line, you know, he'll turn around and cast his gaze on his brother's forge where everyone's currently residing, and then he'll let out like a whimper, and you can perhaps see like a tear form in the bottom of his eye and then run down the short, thick fur around his eye. Longing, perhaps? Envious? He's not in a place to discern. But the scent that tugs at him the most out of all those scents is his brother's blood. And then he, you know, on his knuckles, turns to where he gets that trail, as you would in Witcher 3, and starts loping on his knuckles in like short bursts, and much like a gorilla would run, he starts to like take those short stuttery steps and bounce and start to like bound in that direction and follow that scent.
Can you roll me a wilderness survival?
I sure can. 21.
You can follow the trail of this scent. It's heavy and strong. Not... I mean, the rain is muddling some of it, but you smell your brother's blood. It's not a lot. It's not like it's not enough for you to be concerned that he's going to bleed out, but it's consistent, and it's a steady trail. Leads into the woods. A couple hours. There's a clearing. opens on a small pond. A place that you and your brother have been before. And there is a figure crumpled, bound at the edge of this pond, and two large, very large to your current form, figures standing over him, staring directly at you. Their eyes glowing in the dark, and an evil grin overtakes their face as fangs come out of the snout, and these two werewolves stare at you, Ardzo. But that's where we're gonna end for tonight.
Buddy. Well, it was nice playing with y'all.
I love how you guys keep saying that, and you said that about the dragon, and wasn't Iskander the nicest dragon you've ever met?
Yes.
I feel like we should do another thing in chat, like exclamation point, we're gonna die here.
Yeah.
And it's like, the casters thought they were going to die 73 times.
I'll make a note.
I just gotta have a conversation with Ardzo about like going on his own. Like he could have people who are really like good fighters who could help him. Like my sister.
Hey, but you know what? Now we got 2 witchers to go fuck him up. And you know what? I bet he's real keen to get back at those werewolves because Brenna is about to put some puzzle pieces together because she and I are thinking, Fistek, huh? Did you say one of your shipments of perfume had gone missing? Didn't you say there was werewolves causing issues?
I did. All those things are true.
I wonder, maybe werewolves are behind this ritual with Baldwin. Baldwin.
Whose blood, oddly enough, made me fucking go batshit crazy.
Which we don't know about that.
You don't know about
se,
that, but players,
however,
as players,
yes.
But yeah, no, that's just what this is. Just what Brenna's put together. Is I wonder. See, because there was zero hesitation, and oh yeah, there's underlying this under the fizz tech, and she's like, perfume.
Look, I have like as a did I say that it was also perfumier? I didn't, but I could make that lie too. So like as a person who's an expert in
Look, she's just gonna say, so since you said there was underlying hellebore under this perfume, didn't you say some of your perfume shipments had gone missing? Weren't there werewolves making that thing happen? We should look into it.
Yeah. Yep.
I bet werewolves,
But here's
led by Baldwin,
But here's the
are
thing.
responsible.
Iskander says that maybe you do this ritual to bring somebody in, but like he also said there's like a focal point of power, and that feels like a thing that maybe Baldwin would like to be focused on himself in some way. Like what if Baldwin's wanting to level up in some kind of...
There's a place of power or some other thing nearby.
What if like Baldwin wants, I don't know, to live forever or be a lich or I don't know.
A were-lich?
A were-lich? Bad things? Like I don't, look.
I will tell you.
Because he was regenerating.
I will tell you straight now. Brenna never had any signs off of Baldwin in any of the times you interacted with him that he engaged in necromancy. And remembering that in the Witcher universe,
it leaves a scent on you.
Necromancy
However,
can
he did start to regenerate with that steel sword strike. So maybe, I don't know, he's a werewolf.
I'm also going to note, just feel like I need to point this out
I'll
there.
pull out that silver sword on him next time I see that asshole.
Because it's in my records that your Witcher medallion was suppressed when you were sort of doing your initial, not this episode, but like last or the time before, and you were at the the bonfire, your witchmodine was not pinging, but your
Yes.
yeah. I'm just saying that maybe somebody was able to do some kind of,
There's a witcher in town.
yeah, let's like do some dampening fields, a little bit of a Faraday cage, and I'm
All
just,
I know is it's been shining like a fucking beacon since Mr. Dragon came down. So I
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah, I we have to make sure that
I may have some. We need to talk after you wake these people up. Is all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Wake them
Sure.
up. That's
Yep.
nice. Put pants on. We're gonna chat.
All right, I'll put pants on. Probably. It's just that here's the
Civilized people talk with pants on.
thing, though. Right. The problem is that my clothing is kind of singed, and that's not fashionable.
Oh, you poor thing. It smells bad.
It does. Oh, so
I'm sure.
And you're covered in sticky salve.
I am. So
I'm
Well, if the pants are already ruined, might as well help keep that salve on.
Hey, I just. Oh, but also here's the thing. There was torture going on, right? There was torture of people.
Of shades,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the switcher. Guess I'll have to talk to him while you hang out with your boyfriend.
I just feel like I just feel like you don't understand that like older siblings are supposed to mess with the younger siblings and not vice
Look,
versa.
I say
just
this
feel
as an
like-
eldest sibling of two younger sisters.
Yeah.
I know what
They
I'm
mess with you all
doing.
the time. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
And they're good at it. And you're
I
like,
know.
how are you? No,
And then you get in trouble if you mess with them, but then they can get away with messing
you
with
just
you.
punk them a lot
Just-
when they're
yeah.
little, not able to do anything about it, and then you just suffer when you're older.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Older sibling, that's true stories. But it's just I think it's bad. I just think it's bad. I feel like there's something bigger. I feel like there are werewolves, yes, but I feel like something
Yeah.
bigger going on because I feel like that ritual was that's a lot
Why
of
are
work.
werewolves doing rituals?
Yeah,
for
it's a lot
one?
of work. It's a lot of work.
It's
One of the
probably
other three
it's probably
werewolves.
what was it? It's probably a werewolf bar mitzvah.
Oh,
It could
yeah.
be. Yeah.
That's fair.
But
Yeah.
they shouldn't have tried to do that in a dragon's town, is all I'm saying.
Men
Uh,
becoming
Wandering Dan.
boys becoming men becoming wolves.